Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Almight's Son Ran to America and Awaken Body Transformation Quirk Part 2. Before we start, please go support Mr. Cake666 for writing that awesome fanfic. Chapter 6, Family Stories. Japan Present Time. Detective Tsukachi. More than a year has passed since Izuku Yagi ran away from home. Using the evidence collected by Izumi, we managed to close down Nabu Middle School, arrest all the teachers, and send the kids who bullied the green-haired boy to reform school. Unfortunately, the Hero Public Safety Commission had to intervene in Izuku's case, closing it due to insufficient evidence and acquitting all the children sent to reform school. In fact, they only wanted to destroy the image of their symbol of peace. Now I'm on the case of 3 low-level thugs who lost their quirks. The first thing that came to my mind was that All for One survived the fight with All Might. However, the quirks they had would not be of any use to him, especially since he is known to be fond of powerful quirks. Chameleon, Long Arms and Bat Wings, 3 quirks that would never be useful to him. Unfortunately, from what they remember, they attacked a young boy and lost their quirks and consciousness upon contact with him. Unfortunately, I immediately came up with the idea that All for One had found a successor. I immediately contacted everyone who knew the secret and informed them that AFO had probably found a successor. Nizu. It's been over a year since my brilliant nephew went missing. I really miss him, especially our games of chess where he is the only one who has a chance against me. But unfortunately, because of his idiots who call themselves his parents Tashinori and Inko, he disappeared and no trace of him was found. Now I'm dealing with the paperwork needed to obtain additional funding for my school in a not-so-legal way. However, I can't forget the words Sir Nightai said after we found out Izuku was missing. That we would meet him in about 4 years before the entrance exam. Where I personally made sure that I did not have any appointments before the exam to increase the chances of seeing my nephew. The detective told us the most dangerous news that AFO had found a successor. Where I personally think the future is uncertain. Eraserhead. It's been over a year since my problematic nephew ran away from home. For a long time he hated the nickname I came up with when he was 5 years old when he played chess with Nizu and was the only one who had any chance against the rat Satan. Now I'm sitting in the staff room grading the last written test of my class where suddenly everyone present can hear the hellish laughter of our rat boss, and he's probably planning to blackmail someone from the government for 2 reasons. The first one is out of boredom, and the second one is probably because he wants to get something. Meanwhile, while I'm on duty as an underground hero, I'm investigating Izuku's case even when those scumbags from the Hero Public Safety Commission closed the case, and thus Izuku was presumed dead for 2 reasons. The first is to protect the image of their symbol of peace, and the second is that Izuku is quirkless, and therefore worthless in their eyes. Only I and Izuku know my secret and no one else, not even my friends from school and my co-workers Hizashi Present Mike and Amiri Midnight know that I go on dates with Emi Ms. Joke. And I'm honestly proud of our relationship, even if no one knows about us. Midnight. It's been over a year since my precious nephew ran away from home because of his idiots called parents. After the news that Izuku had run away from home, I couldn't sleep for a month and I cried constantly from sadness. As a heroine, I helped with the investigation to find Izuku, but the case of Izuku's disappearance was closed by HPSC and he was declared dead. Now I'm sitting in class teaching Class 2B Modern Hero Art History where I keep thinking about only one person and that's Izuku. Why do I keep thinking about my dear nephew? Because I started to see him as a man and not as a member of my family. I seriously miss him now. He should be 11 years old. Damn Namiri, what are you thinking, you perverted idiot? Midnight screams to himself in his head. Never mind, now I have to focus on my duties. Endeavor. It's been over a year since Izuku ran away from home. From that moment everything changed. First with my eldest son we closed the former school where they bullied Izuku and arrested the teachers and the principal. At least that's what I could do for the boy who saved my family from me. If it weren't for Izuku, I would still be an asshole who only thought about overtaking All Might in the hero rankings at all costs. If it weren't for him, my family would fall apart, Rei would probably commit suicide, Natsuo would run away from home, Fuyumi would probably try to somehow repair our family. But to no avail, and Toyo would have an accident with his quirk. My family changed after that day. After we returned, Rei locked herself in the guest room and didn't come out for a whole week. Toya decided to take up the hero's job and almost never came back home, where everyone in the agency said that he had become a workaholic. But everyone he knew Izuku knows that these two were close like brothers. Natsuo turned more rebellious. Fuyumi still seemed cheerful, but everyone knew that there was sadness hidden under that fake smile. Shoka closed herself off and started training hard without our help, constantly saying that she needed to become stronger. But after learning what he had done, Shoto changed beyond recognition from a confident kid to a calm one who loved to meditate in peace. Now I'm investigating the disappearances of people in Jaka City with my sidekicks. We discovered that all the disappearances are not connected at all, the families or the history of the people. Only what we managed to find out thanks to the city monitoring, that all the missing people disappear in a mysterious purple fog and after 6 p.m. Interesting. Sir Nightai. It's been over a year since young Izuku went missing. Personally, I lost trust in All Might after this fact. The idiot chose to neglect his own son just because he didn't meet his requirements because he didn't have a quirk. He himself was quirkless at first, just like his son, but he chose to neglect him anyway. He decided that he would give OFA to his daughter, where at the beginning, after the whole scandal, I thought she was a spoiled brat who got everything she wanted, but after a little conversation with her, she told me that she was going to give Quirk to her brother because she believed that he should have had OFA from the very beginning. Where I agree with her. Now I'm dealing with busting one of the newer criminal organizations called the White Dragons, who over the last half a year have transformed from ordinary low-level thugs who robbed passers-by into a large criminal organization dealing with, among other things, weapons smuggling, kidnappings and wars between Japanese gangs. I'm still trying to find out who the leader of the White Dragons is. The only thing I managed to discover with my sidekicks Bubble Girl and Centipeder is that the leader's name is only Dragon Slayer, and he appeared in Japan about 2 years ago. In the meantime, I'm keeping up with Detective Tsukachi regarding a possible new all-for-one. Whenever I try to use my quirk called Foresight to see the future to help the detective, I always see the same sight. A destroyed city where a man in a black cloak with a hood stands next to the golden statue of All Might, where this vision of the future terrifies me. All Might. It's been over a year since my son ran away. Since then, none of our friends have visited us, which is not surprising. The whole time me and Inko were devoting to Izumi that I don't have any memory of Izuku after the doctor's visit. Personally, I wanted to retire. Unfortunately, the Hero Public Safety Commission does not allow me, saying that when I retire, crime in the entire country will increase by 90%, due to my own stupidity. The whole of Japan believes that I will save it. I have built a system where Japan is held by one column, which am I. A lot has changed. Izumi still looks at us as if we were some kind of monsters, but I am not surprised at what we did to Izuku. Inko decided that she will help at the orphanage for quirkless children and at the hospital for quirkless children, where all the characters think that she is doing it to improve her image. But those who know what we have done know that she wants to help those who need help and feel like Izuku. I personally helped raid the villains' hideouts, thinking that maybe I would find Izuku there and apologize to him for what I did. When people saw me, they started to see that my famous smile had changed and everyone was wondering what had happened to me. If only they knew. I even tried to say on the live news what my wife and I did, but those assholes at HPSC wouldn't let me. So I decided to help Izumi train, but she didn't forgive me for the way I treated Izuku. Inko. It's been over a year since my baby boy ran away from home. As a mother, I failed the child who I kept in my belly for 9 months and whom I gave birth to. All because of my stupidity. In my free time I still sit in the basement on Izuku's mattress, and I keep looking at our family photo from when Izuku and Izumi were 3 years old, and I keep crying because I know that because of my stupidity and pride I lost my own child. What kind of mother am I? I keep asking myself this question in my head, looking at our photo. However, I still remember the image I imagined when Izuku and Izumi were little, both as a heroic duo in the same outfits, but I can't forget what I did. This is how Inko imagines them. As a heroine, I dropped in the ranking from 8th place to 16th place, where I honestly don't care about it. Now I still help in hospitals and orphanages. At least thanks to the fact that I graduated from medical school, my skills and knowledge acquired at school will help me in some way. So I managed to get a job as a nurse at a hospital for quirkless children where these kids need help and the government doesn't want to keep anything associated with quirkless people. By the way, due to my constant sadness and guilt, I started gaining weight. Now instead of weighing 68 kilograms, I weigh 97 kilograms, and everyone started worrying about me. Mitsuki started coming to me again for a cup of coffee. Even Ray started coming after over a year and brought her famous caramel cookies. Now, I keep looking through our old family albums, and I keep thinking what would have happened if I hadn't neglected my child. Izumi. It's been over a year since my older brother ran away from home because of our parents. My father decided to give me one for all, but I decided to give it to Izuku as soon as they found it. Recently, after my training, I went to sleep where I moved to a strange place. I was all in a dark green fog and in front of me there were 8 people, of whom I only recognized the golden spirit that my father looks like in his smaller form. So I assumed that I was inside one for all where there are previous users in front of me, and they started talking to me. So you're the 9th? The white-haired man asked. You don't look like a tough girl to me, the bald man asked. It doesn't matter anyway, a man who looked like a homeless man asked. Who are you? Izumi asked unsurely. Let's introduce ourselves one by one. My name is Yoichi Shigaraki, I'm the first OFA user, the white-haired man said. Kudo Hata, I am the second OFA user, said the ginger man who resembled Katsuki Bakugo. Bruce Bano, I am the third OFA user, said the man with gray hair and a ponytail. Haiku Shinomori, I am the fourth OFA user, said the man who looked like a homeless man. Daigoro Banjo, I am the fifth OFA user, said the bald man. My name is En, I am the sixth OFA user, said the man in the red cloak reaching up to his nose. I am Nana Shimura, the seventh member of OFA. And I'm your grandmother, said the woman with black hair and a white cape. And this golden idiot is Toshinori Yagi, your father and the eighth OFA user, said Yoichi Shigaraki pointing to the golden spirit. The golden ghost of Toshinori Yagi staring at the floor said nothing. Wait, you are my grandmother? Izumi asked in shock. That's right, I am Inko's mother, where I am personally disappointed as her mother that she neglected her own child just because he didn't have a quirk, Nana said with a serious face. But how do you know about this? If I remember correctly, you've been dead for about 40 years. Izumi asked, curious that her grandmother had what happened when she was dead. We former OFA users can see through the eyes of a current user. We saw everything through Toshinori's eyes, Yoichi Shigaraki said. Don't worry, little one, you will have privacy in matters of romance, said Daigoro Banjo with a smile on his face. Izumi's face was red from embarrassment at this moment, and Nana had a smile on her face and asked, By the way, when can I expect my great-grandchildren? Nana Shimura asked with a smile. Right now, Izumi's face was a completely different shade of red because of her own grandmother's question. Grandma, Izumi cried out in embarrassment. After Izumi shouted at her grandmother, all users started laughing until the first user finally decided to move on to important matters. Okay, enough of this laughing, listen to me carefully, young girl, Yoichi Shigaraki said, interrupting everyone's laughter. We know you already know the history of OFA and AFO, but for the past year we have been able to sense the presence of a new quirk, but we cannot tell if he or she is working for my brother. All we can say is that he or she has a piece of AFO. Yoichi Shigaraki explained the situation. Someone have a piece of the AFO? Izumi asked. Correct, you must be prepared for every circumstance, even if this new person works for AFO. And said. What about my father? Izumi asked uncertainly. We don't trust All Might after the way he treated his own son where he was quirkless just like Izuku, Haiku Shinomori said as she looked at the spirit of the eighth. I understand, but my goal is to give one for all to my brother because he is worthy, not me, Izumi said proudly. All former users present were shocked by Izumi's goal. Nana, on the other hand, had a smile on her face because she was proud of her granddaughter. What's going on? Izumi asked, panicking as her body began to disappear. Relax, you just wake up, I'll see you in the future, ninth. Daigoro Banjo said, calming Izumi down. And so Izumi woke up in her room, got up and went to the mirror. She looked at herself with a sad face and said, Brother, when I find you, I will give you what should be yours and then we will be heroes together, Izumi said to herself, looking at her reflection in the mirror. Katsuki Bakugo. It's been over a year since the nerd ran away from home, and that's a good thing. At least calm down with this worthless garbage. At least I can train now since the Hero Public Safety Commission cleared me of the charges because they decided my hero quirk couldn't go to waste. Since Izumi betrayed me, we stopped being friends. She went to a private junior high and I, along with my sister, went to a junior high school in Jaka City. Shoto and his sister, however, started studying at home. Where I honestly don't care. As soon as we go to UA, I will crush them like the bugs they are and I will become the new #1 hero. Shoto Todoroki. It's been over a year since Izuku ran away from us, which I'm not surprised about. Then, due to my own stupidity, I lost the trust of the person I could call a brother. Unfortunately, I realized too late, and now Izuku's not with us, and I decided to change from a proud kid who is looking for a fight to a quiet kid who can think before doing something. As for my family, it changed after that hellish birthday where everyone found out about Izuku. After our return, my mother locked herself in the guest room and all we could hear was her crying for a whole week. Fuyumi was still smiling, but we all know her smile was fake. Natsuo was furious with me, but after a few days he didn't know what to do next if someone answered the phone. His only reason to smile, Toya didn't come back from the agency at all. He even stayed there overnight, where apparently everyone in our father's agency started to consider him a workaholic. But each of us knew that he wanted to find Izuku at all costs. Katsumi Bakugo. It's been over a year since Zuzu ran away from home. From that moment on, everything in our family changed. My mother went from a loud woman to a quiet one. My father became sad to such an extent that he even stopped eating his favorite, the classic canned red bean paste. My brother, on the other hand, was supposed to go to juvenile detention, but the HPSC decided to clear him of all charges because in their eyes, quirkless people are worthless, which made my brother's ego grow even more. Shoka Todoroki. It's been over a year since Aizu ran away from home. A lot has changed during this time. My family is no longer the same as before, but I had a quarrel with my brother and I stuck to myself and only trained. I promised myself that I would become strong to find Izuku and be with him, and I intend to keep my promise. Even if I have to search for years, I promise I will find him. Izuku. It's been over a year since I escaped from this hellish place called home. My parents neglected me, my friends bullied me, and my sister betrayed me. The worst thing is that my fake father had a quirk that he can give to others but not me. I ran away from home because I couldn't stand it anymore. I even thought about committing suicide. Luckily my quirk activated and I ran away to America where I started my empire. Where if you have an IQ of 283 and a quirk that allows you to understand any document, it's easy. I met my apprentice while I was still a vigilante where he became my first real friend. Then I got a mission from the president herself, where I had to save her daughter from terrorists, together with my student. As a reward I received my own hero license and citizenship, where now I train regularly with my student and from time to time we catch criminals. I even managed to visit half of America from time to time. All for one. 11 years ago my son was born and Inko cheated on me with Tashinori Yagi. My love of my life cheated on me with a guy who has my brother's quirk. The worst thing is that Inko decided to neglect Izuku just because Dr. Tsubasa told her that my son was quirkless. My friend Dr. Tsubasa is a villain called Kyodai Garaki who works for me, and he told Inko that Izuku was quirkless just to protect my son in case they found out he had an improved version of my quirk. If those corrupt dogs from the Hero Public Safety Commission found out, they would lock him up in Tartarus. Since Izuku was born, I had my people watch my son from afar so that no one would suspect anything, but over a year ago, when Izuku ran away from home and his quirk activated, he accidentally stole their quirk from 3 gangsters who wanted to rob him, and he then went to the airport, where my men lost track of him. We found out by accident that there is a new vigilante in America called Phantom, who is suspected of having the ability to use, give, copy, evolve, and destroy quirks. Where I added the fact that Phantom is short, so I put 2 and 2 together and I know where my son is, and at least I'm happy that he's not with Inko. At least now the world of heroes thinks I'm dead thanks to my last fight with All Might, where he supposedly killed me by crushing my skull after the city center was destroyed as a result of our fight. Kyudai Garaki luckily captured my body, and with the help of his medical skills and a few quirks, I returned to the world of the living, but I lost my eyesight. The upper part of my head is covered in scars and I have to be connected to a special device that helps me breathe. Now I'm planning to take over Japan, and only 3 people can stop me. Name: Toshinori Yagi All Might. Quirk: One for All. Current place of residence: Yagi's House, Mizudafu, Japan. Name: Kathleen Bates, Star and Stripe. Quirk: New Order. Current place of residence: Star and Stripe Agency, Washington, America. Name: Izuku Yagi. Quirk: All for All. Current place of residence: House in the Woods, Orlando, America. Chapter 7: Mission in Poland. Izuku POV. Over the last 2 months, with the help of the president, I managed to change my surname from Yagi to Shimura because every time I hear that damned name, I have memories of the hell I used to call home. By the way, in the meantime, I managed to pass my driving license and bought my first car, which is an Audi A4 from 2023, which cost only $29,804, and I managed to set up my own company called Shimura Industries, which deals with all industries such as medicine, creating equipment that helps heroes, and even security systems, with its headquarters located in New York. Here he is. The company itself has been generating only profits since its launch, and in less than a week from its founding, my company took 98th place in the ranking of the most profitable companies according to Fortune Illustrated magazine, which I am pleased with. By the way, only my trusted employees know from the very top that their boss is an 11-year-old boy who has an IQ of 283, which makes me glad that I don't have to hide from all my employees. Now I am at the headquarters of the UN United Nations, where I was summoned because they need my help. In the office, I sat down in front of the desk that belongs to Mr. Sebastian Sharp, who is the head of the European department, where I am waiting for him. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait long, and after 10 minutes the owner of the office showed up. This is what he looks like. Mr. Shimura, nice to meet you. My name is Sebastian Sharp. I'm the leader of the European department, and I have a mission for you, Sebastian Sharp said to me. If I may ask you about the details of the mission? I asked curiously. You see, I need to send you to Poland, which is located on the very border of Europe, where, together with 2 local heroes, you will have to stop the conflict that was caused by the latest politicians who consider themselves untouchable, Mr. Sharp explained. With all due respect, I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg, I said, concerned about the mission. And you're right, local politicians organize their own small army called the Brotherhood of Chains. Mr. Sharp said with a serious face. So, in other words, are we supposed to fight terrorists? I asked. Unfortunately, if Poland falls, the whole of Europe will be vulnerable to attack by countries from the east, Mr. Sharp said. Russia, Belarus, and Lithuania? I asked, knowing the map of Europe. That's right, but after World War III, Russia is still licking its wounds after its defeat in 2039, but knowing them, they are not going to miss this opportunity, Mr. Sharp explained. Interesting. Well, I agreed to this mission as long as I can take my apprentice with me, I said, interested. Let it be. Your plane will take off in 3 days, and at the airport you will meet one of our agents who will supervise the mission, Mr. Sharp explained. Thank you, sir, I replied. And so Izuku left the building and immediately decided to call his student and inform him. Andrew POW. A lot has changed since my master saved me from child traffickers. I met the first person who wasn't afraid of my weirdness. I started going to school, although Izuku thought it was a waste of time, so I decided to study at home where, surprisingly, my master has 14 different PhDs and has a teaching license. Where I finished primary and middle school in just 6 months. And I decided to end it there because I'm going to enroll in UA in Japan, where my master is not happy whenever someone mentions Japan to him, where it's no wonder he survived such hell. Now, however, I am sitting in my room and playing World of Lovecraft, a new MMORPG game that has conquered the whole world. I personally play as a dwarf warrior and I am level 80 and I have equipment with item level 553 and my master prefers to play the lizardman mage who has level 98 and equipment that has item level 620 and mastery in the arcade path. But suddenly I hear my phone ringing and I see that it is, so Izuku answers immediately without hesitation. "Yes, master?" I asked while answering the phone. "Andrew, start packing, we have a mission," my master said. "I understood, start packing right away, master. May I just know where are we going?" He answered the master and asked where the mission was. "Our mission will take place in Poland," my master answered my question. "Oh, I've always wanted to go to Africa," I said to my master. "Andrew?" my master asked, surprised. "What?" I asked what the matter was. "Poland is not situated in Africa. Poland lies on the very western border of Europe," my master explained. "Oh, I didn't know that," I said, not knowing that I had just made a fool of myself. Author's note: I come from Poland and it irritates me that people think that our country is located in Africa or South America instead of in Europe. Never mind, now I'm going home and we start packing. We have a plane in 3 days and at the airport we will meet one of the UN agents, my master said. "I understand, see you at home," I told my master on the phone. Time skip 3 days later. "Master, we've been waiting at the airport for about 2 hours, I said, a little annoyed. "Yes, I know, either way, we have to wait for the agent assigned to us for this mission," my master said. "Master, this must be the agent on your 3, I said, looking to my left. My master turned to his right and saw the agent assigned to us. The agent turned out to be a woman with black short hair wearing a black tuxedo. "Oh, you must be Izuku Shimura and Andrew Robinson if I'm not mistaken? My name is Hina Sachida. I am the agent assigned to your mission," said the stranger in the suit. "I am pleased to meet you," my master said. "I'm also pleased," I said. Name: Hina Sachida. Age: 22. Height: 160 centimeters 5 feet 3 inches. Blood type AB. Quirk: Life Detector. Life Detector allows the user to see another person's life energy in the form of a green aura. "Interesting. If you let me copy your quirk?" my master asked curiously. "Sure, it's useless on the battlefield anyway, so I don't mind," the agent replied to my master with a smile. And so master touched Agent Sachida's hand and copied Life Detector, and they started talking about the details of the mission before a voice from the intercom announced that our flight to Poland had just arrived at Station A, and the 3 of us went towards the plane. Izuku POV. On a plane. "Master, as we fly to Poland, I would like to learn a bit about its history," Andrew asked me. "Let it be. The first historically confirmed date describing the history of Poland is the year 966, when Prince Mieszko I, the ruler of the areas that are now mostly within the borders of Poland, was baptized. In 1025, the Kingdom of Poland was established, whose first king was Mieszko I's son, Boleslaw I the Brave. In 1385, Poland concluded an agreement with the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, signing the Act of Union in Krów. This relationship was strengthened by the Union of Lublin in 1569, resulting in the creation of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, one of the largest and most populous states on the map of 16th and 17th century Europe, which in the years 1618 to 1621, after the truce in Dywolin, had an area of approximately 1 million square kilometers. Its internal system is described as a nobility democracy, and the monarch was elected in the so-called free election system. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth ceased to exist as a result of the Third Partition in 1795, when its territory was divided between Prussia, Russia, and Austria. After 123 years, at the end of World War I, in 1918, Poland regained independence. The then reborn statehood is called the Second Polish Republic. On September 1, 1939, World War II began with Germany's attack on Poland, and on September 17, 1939, the USSR attacked. Therefore, in October 1939, the entire territory of the country came under German and Soviet occupation. As a result of World War II, over 6 million Polish citizens lost their lives. The Yalta Conference in February 1945 placed Poland in the Soviet sphere of influence. In July 1945, by the decisions of the Potsdam Conference, Poland's borders were moved westward between the Oder-Neisse Line and the Curzon Line, annexing the recovered territories in place of the eastern borderlands. The Polish People's Republic, the name of the country adopted in 1952, was a satellite state of the USSR in the so-called formula People's Democracy. The government in a single-party system was exercised by the Communist Polish Workers' Party, and then by the Polish United Workers' Party, with the formal existence of satellite groups. During the Cold War, the Polish People's Republic belonged to the Warsaw Pact, so it was part of the so-called Eastern Bloc. After the political changes initiated as a result of the Round Table and partially democratic parliamentary elections in June 1989, the first government with a prime minister from outside the Communist Party was appointed. Poland modified its constitution, changing the name of the country to the Republic of Poland on December 31, 1989, and becoming a democratic country. Despite enormous human losses and significant destruction of the country as a result of World War II, Poland managed to preserve much of its cultural wealth. There are 17 sites inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, 15 cultural heritage sites and 2 natural sites, 123 historical monuments, and a large number of registered monuments. Since the beginning of the political transformation into a market economy, Poland has maintained a very high Human Development Index (HDI). Economic freedom is gradually increasing in the country. Poland is a democratic country with a developed, high-income economy and a high quality of life index. Most Poles, 57%, work in the service sector. Moreover, Poland is visited by approximately 17.5 million tourists annually 2016, making it one of the most visited countries in the world. Poland is the 7th largest economy in the European Union and one of the fastest growing European economies. In the Democracy Index study conducted by a team associated with The Economist Weekly, Poland took 51st place in 2021 out of 167 countries and territories surveyed, which means a drop by 1 place since the previous year, and the country's democracy is described as defective. According to the Global Peace Index from 2017, Poland ranks 33rd in the world, 22nd in Europe in terms of security level, while according to the 2018 report by Underwriters Laboratories, Poland ranks 35th in terms of security, 27th in Europe. The Press Freedom Index ranks Poland 64th in the world in 2021. I explained what I knew. And that's all? Anything else you'd like to know? I asked. Andrew didn't know what to say. Agent Sachita didn't know what to say. Excellent, oh look, we're reaching Krakow, I said, looking out the window. No one POV. Izuku, Andrew and Agent Sachita got off the plane and immediately admired how beautiful the city of Krakow was and went to pick up their luggage, and on the way they noticed soldiers at the airport who belonged to the Brotherhood of Chains. So these are the famous soldiers? Looks like I'll have more fun with them, Izuku said mentally. And so Izuku, Andrew and the agent went to the designated hotel, not knowing that someone was watching them from the rooftops. He is a man dressed in an elegant tuxedo who is observing our heroes. In the hotel. Izuku POV. The journey from the airport to our hotel took us only 30 minutes by taxi. On the way, I noticed that there were a lot of Brotherhood of Chains soldiers in the city and a really small number of heroes, which I was dissatisfied with. As soon as we entered the hotel, Agent Hina Sachita went to the reception to collect our room keys, of which me and Andrew will share a room and Agent Hina Sachita will have a separate room opposite ours. As soon as the Agent Sachita returned with our keys, we waited about 20 minutes for 2 Polish heroes who would cooperate with us. And so, how long should we wait for the local heroes? Andrew asked, annoyed at having to wait. Suddenly the door opened and 2 people entered the waiting room. The first was a woman with black short dress, and the second was a man with a beard and a pilot's suit. Hello, you must be Izuku, Andrew and Agent Sachita? My name is Madzia. I am in the ranking of heroes in Poland. I take 45th place in the ranking of heroes in Poland and my name is Queen of Swords, Madzia introduced herself. Author's note: Madzia is a Polish name that has the English equivalent, Maddie. Name: Magdalena Filipovich. Age: 35. Height: 170 centimeters 5 feet 7 inches. Blood type: B. Quirk: Enchanted allows you to enchant a weapon or any object to such an extent that, for example, a sword will cut through everything like butter or clothes will be practically indestructible. The only drawback is that the user can only use the quirk on 3 items. And my name is Maciek and I am Polish hero number 49 called by others Crazy Pilot, Shio. Nice to meet you, said the man in the pilot's suit while posing. Name: Maciek Albert Murawski. Age: 33. Height: 168 centimeters 5 feet 6 inches. Blood type: O. Quirk: Strings. It allows the user to create strings from their fingers that are very thin and virtually indestructible. The only drawback is the fire that burns them. Izuku and Andrew were thinking about one thing. Is this guy really a top 50 hero? Hello, Madzik. It's nice to see you again, said Agent Suchida. The same, my dear, Madzik said. So now what? Andrew asked. Today we're taking it easy, tomorrow we'll start early in the morning, so I recommend getting some sleep, said Agent Suchida. It's fine for me, Andrew said. Okay, let's go, I said as I headed towards the elevator. And we went to our rooms. I got the room next to Andrew's and Agent Suchida has the room across from mine. As soon as I entered the room, I checked the entire room for hidden cameras or listening devices. To my surprise, I found them and immediately destroyed them. Then I called Andrew to check his room as well, and then I took a shower and went to sleep. Japan, Underground Laboratory. Noon POV. Doctor, is the prototype ready? Said the voice from the monitor with the words, sound only, written on it. Yes, Master, all the quirks that were on the list were added to his body at your instructions, said the scientist, looking first at the monitor showing the test results, and then looking at the monitor with the words, sound only. Excellent, immediately send it to our partner in Poland as a test, said the voice from the monitor. Master? Can we trust him? After all, he is a corrupt politician who wants power above all else, said the scientist. Of course not, our prototype has a special chip in its brain thanks to which as soon as our Polish partner decides to betray us, the prototype will immediately kill him, the voice on the monitor explained. As you wish, Master, I will send him to Poland immediately, said the scientist. Poland. Izuku POV. I can't sleep. I still have the feeling that if I fall asleep, someone will kill me, so I decided to go for a short walk. I saw on my watch that it was 11:30 p.m. When I left the room, I heard crying coming from Agent Suchida's room, so I decided to knock. Who's there? Suchida asked through the door. It's me, Izuku, I replied. Izuku? What do you need? Suchida asked through the door. Nothing, I just heard crying and decided to check on you, I replied. The door began to open and Agent Suchida emerged from the doorway in a robe. I could immediately see that something was wrong with her. Her eyes were red from crying, so I decided to ask her. All right, now start talking about what's going on because I see you have some problems, so I'm listening, I said, concerned. So if you don't mind, we'll talk in my room, Agent Suchida slightly concerned. All right, I said. Agent Suchida didn't say anything. All right, spit it out or I'll use mind control on you and make you tell me, I said, slightly upset by the silence. Okay, I'll tell you. The thing is, I'm the worst UN agent. My results speak for themselves. Out of all 100 missions I received, only 16 were considered successful. Because of this, my superiors gave me an ultimatum. I will succeed in this mission or I will be fired, Agent Suchida explained with tears in her eyes. So, in other words, are you afraid that you won't be able to cope with the challenge and that you will fail? I asked what I understood. Yes, Agent Suchida said. All right, listen, I understand that you're afraid. That's understandable. But you can't give up. You're an UN agent. People rely on you. You can't let fear win. I understand about your quirk that is not suitable for fighting, but it won't change anything. I remember how my uncle, when I was 4 years old, used to come to us and show us what he could do, but his quirk was seeing and he always showed how he could fight even using wooden stamps, which I have always admired him for. You know who I mean. Agent Tsuchida didn't say anything. So? I asked curiously. Close your eyes for a moment. She told me to close my eyes, so I did. Okay? I said, slightly concerned. Open your eyes. Agent Tsuchida told me to open it, so I opened it. I didn't know what to say at this sight. Do you like what you see? I didn't know what to say. Wait, what are you doing? I asked unsurely. I am rewarding my hero, Agent Tsuchida replied with a smile on her face. Noon POV. Tsuchida decided to reward her hero. She placed her hand on Izuku's male gems where he became hard upon touching them. Without a moment's hesitation, she kissed Izuku and pushed him onto the bed where she personally shielded Izuku's beast, which upon close inspection was 10 inches long, 25 centimeters. Oh gosh, I must admit that you have a truly impressive beast, Agent Tsuchida said with hearts in her eyes. And so Agent Tsuchida had sex with Izuku until the morning where, thanks to infertility, Izuku didn't have to be afraid that he would accidentally impregnate Agent Tsuchida. At least Izuku can safely say that he lost his virginity at the age of 11, where not everyone can boast of such a result. Author's note: I have no intention of adding Agent Tsuchida to the harem. Next day. We now see that the short heroes Izuku, together with his student Andrew, Agent Tsuchida and the Polish duo of heroes Madzik and Shio are in the office of the agency that belongs to Madzik. Izuku is sitting on the armchair, Andrew with Shio and Madzik on the sofa, and Agent Tsuchida is standing at the whiteboard with photos, various documents, and other items. Something like that. Alright, that's it and the plan. Madzik, your task will be to locate and track one of the business partners of the Minister of Defense who stayed at the King's Vale Hotel, which is located on the outskirts of Warsaw. His name is Mina Shalhoub, he is Egyptian, here is his photo. Agent Tsuchida explained the mission for Madzik. Understood. I'm leaving immediately, Madzik said. Shio, your task will be to scout the factory that belongs to the Brotherhood of Chains, where we suspect that they are being created there. The factory itself is located 3 kilometers east of Radom. Agent Tsuchida explained the mission for Shio. Yes, Madam General, Shio said, saluting. Izuku and Andrew looked at each other with horrified expressions. Andrew, your task will be to work in civilian clothes due to the fact that you do not have your own hero license, and your task will be to track down a local gang that smuggles quite interesting technologies to Poland, which are then sold on the local black market where our target buys them at reduced prices. Agent Tsuchida explained the mission for Andrew. Interesting. Understood, Miss Tsuchida, Andrew said. Izuku, your task will be a personal meeting with Senator Roman Kasowski, who is the main target, but his office and home are the most secured places in the entire country. So you have an appointment at his office tomorrow at 2 p.m. to present him with a business offer, and in the meantime carefully explore his office using your talents and your quirks. Agent Tsuchida explained the mission for Izuku. Understood, boss, Izuku said. All right. The meeting is officially over. Each of you has been assigned to your own separate missions and you have 48 hours to complete them. I know it's not much, but unfortunately there are only 5 of us and we have to deal with this problem ourselves. Understood? Agent Tsuchida said. Yes, everyone responded the same. Good, Agent Tsuchida said. Everyone left the office, immediately going to their assigned missions, leaving Izuku and Agent Tsuchida in the office. Izuku? How did my speech go? Agent Tsuchida asked. Really good. You really sounded like a professional agent, Izuku said. Thank you, Agent Tsuchida thanked him with a smile. If you don't mind, I'll go to the hotel to prepare for the meeting, Izuku said. So be it. By the way, thanks for our meeting last night, Agent Tsuchida said. Izuku didn't know what to say. Time jump 1:30 p.m. Izuku POV. I have finished preparing the papers for the meeting and I am currently on my way to Senator Kasowski's office where, using my spy skills and possibly my quirks, I will search the office for information on where to lock him and their soldiers. I had just got out of the taxi, paying 34 zlotys $8.64 for the ride, and without hesitation I entered the building, passing about 10 soldiers, when I reached the reception desk and said that I had an appointment with Senator Kasowski at 2 p.m. This is what she looks like. I immediately used scanning on the receptionist as soon as I saw her to learn a bit about her. Name, Edita Padaruska. Age 29. Height, 163 centimeters 5 feet 4 inches. Blood type AB+. Quirk, magic eyes allows the user to see through walls. Hello, my name is Izuku Shimura. I have an appointment with Senator Kasowski at 2 p.m. I introduced myself and explained my reason for coming. One moment, please, the receptionist said as she checked the computer. Yes. Please go right and straight to the elevators where the senator is waiting for you on the 5th floor, where his office is, the receptionist said, explaining where to go. Thank you. I thanked her and headed in the designated direction. After I said thank you, I went towards the elevator, copying the secretary's quirk. I used octopus arms to create a tentacle from my leg and immediately used chameleon on it to make it invisible and touched the secretary's leg, copying her quirk. In the elevator, I decided to evolve the quirk I copied from the secretary magic eyes into detective's eyes, which essentially gives me the ability to see through walls, see invisible things, and more. Now the elevator stopped on the 5th floor, where my destination is. As soon as the doors opened, 2 soldiers appeared and began to search me for weapons, but they found nothing. After finishing the search, one of the soldiers told me to go left to the office at the end of the corridor. As soon as I reached the designated room, I knocked on the door. After only 5 seconds, the door was automatically opened, so I entered and introduced myself to the senator. This is what he looks like. Name, Roman Kasowski. Age 44. Height, 194 centimeters 6 foot 4 1/2 inch. Blood type B. Quirkless. Interesting, I said in my mind. Mr. Shimura, nice to welcome you to my office, said the senator. Thank you, Senator, for agreeing to this business meeting, I replied to the senator. So let's get down to business. What do you say? Said the senator. Time skip 1 hour later. After an hour of agreeing the terms of the partnership with the senator, I decided to go to the office where Agent Suchida is sitting to report on my meeting. As soon as I entered the room, the first thing that caught my eye was an unconscious bandit tied to a chair, with Agent Suchida and Andrew standing above them, talking to each other. Hi. How's everything going? I asked curiously. Master, it's good to see you, Andrew said. Okay, what's going on with that guy tied to a chair who looks like he's fighting a bear? I asked, slightly concerned by the appearance of the man tied to the chair. Oh, this is Andre Byros. He is one of the smugglers I dealt with, and I must say that this whole gang of them is super weak. It took me only 2 hours to find them, and I defeated them in 5 minutes, Andrew explained. Okay, but I still don't know why you dragged this idiot here, I asked. I thought you might find his quirk useful, Andrew said. Really? What can he do? I asked. From what I noticed, it can open portals, Andrew explained. Interesting, okay, thanks. I thanked my student. So I approached the unconscious smuggler and copied his quirk called Gate, which allows him to open blue-violet portals that look a bit like fog. This is what the portal looks like. Not bad, this quirk will definitely come in handy for me. Thanks, I said. Suddenly the phone rang and Agent Suchida answered. It was Shio calling for help. It turns out that the situation in the factory is tense, so I immediately activated Gate and our entire group moved to the outskirts of the factory on fire. Lots of soldiers shooting towards where Shio is and this huge behemoth with a skull instead of a face. I immediately decided to use scanning to learn more about the behemoth, but the information I received surprised me. Name error. Age error. Height 220 centimeters 7 feet 3 inches. Blood type error. Quirk error. How is this even possible? After all, scanning should show me information about it, but it gives me errors? One thing I can be sure of is that something is definitely not human, I said in my mind. Okay, here's the plan, Andrew. You take care of the soldiers shooting at Shio. You take care of this thing. I will take care of the injured Shio and take him to a safe place. Agent Suchida explained the plan. And so I went towards the black behemoth which, together with the soldiers, was attacking poor Shio. At the same time, Andrew was getting rid of the soldiers in his werewolf form one by one, giving Agent Suchida time to help the Polish hero. When I got to the monster, I immediately activated Regeneration, Strength Enhancer X4 and Barrier, which is my currently strongest combination, but I decided to be careful with this thing because I don't know its quirk, if it even has one. I was constantly exchanging blows with this beast, and I noticed that whenever I injured him, his body regenerated immediately, and his bones did not break under constant blows. I immediately decided to hurt it in the heart using electricity manipulation by shocking it with electricity. It worked for a while and the beast was paralyzed, so I decided to get closer and see if it had any quirks. To my surprise, the beast has 5 quirks, including Unbreakable Bones, Super Regeneration, Muscle Expansion, Sixth Sense, Self-Detonation. Unfortunately, before I took the beast's last 2 quirks, Super Regeneration and Self-Detonation, it woke up and activated Self-Detonation, killing itself before I took the rest of the quirk. Andrew POV. As soon as we separated, I immediately transformed into my werewolf form and attacked the soldiers. To my surprise, it turned out that the soldiers turned out to be robots dressed as soldiers. I immediately stopped fearing for human life and started destroying soldiers left and right, giving Agent Suchida time to take Shio to a safe place and Izuku to defeat this black behemoth. As soon as I finished with the last soldier and my master dealt with the beast, we met in the field in the middle of the battlefield, where my master heard a familiar voice coming from inside the factory. "Did you really think I wouldn't figure you out, heroes?" A mysterious person shouted from inside the factory. "Who are you, asshole?" my master asked. "Have you really forgotten about me? We had a meeting at 2 p.m. kid," the voice said. "Senator Kasowski?" my master said in surprise. "That's right, and this little thing is a special armor that is practically indestructible by quirks and can adapt to the opponent's quirks," the senator said. Izuku POV. As soon as the senator came out of the factory wearing his armor, I decided to play for time and find out something about this armor. "Interesting. I'm just curious about one thing, Senator. Robo-soldiers, gangs smuggling technology to Poland, and this armor of yours is all for what it's supposed to be used for?" I asked curiously. "My whole life as a quirkless has been a real hell. You know what it's like to live in a Class D country in Europe. Without a quirk it's impossible. As soon as my parents found out that I was quirkless, they sent me to an orphanage where I was beaten every day by everyone just because of something I had no control over." The senator explained why. I didn't know what to say. "I did all this just to change this world for the better. Everyone is looking not at you but at your weirdness. If you have a powerful quirk, you are someone, but if you have a weak quirk, a sinister quirk, or no quirk at all, you are treated like trash," the senator explained. "I know how you feel. I had a similar childhood myself. My parents neglected me in favor of my sister just because she had a strong quirk. My friends bullied me because I was weak, and all this for 6 years until my quirk manifested itself," I replied to the senator. "So you know the pain I felt because of this stupid world?" the senator asked. "I know your pain, but unlike you, I don't want revenge," I responded, summoning mercy and redemption in my hands. "I am a hero and that's why I'll stop you," I said as I started shooting at the senator. I fired a series of bullets at the senator, but unfortunately they all bounced off the armor and fell to the ground. I immediately decided to analyze the armor and used my other quirks that I had acquired so far. First I used mind control to end it quickly, but the effect reflected off the armor and gave me a slight headache. Then I used muscle expansion and gained some weight and decided to hit the armor, but to no avail. The senator immediately hit me with a left hook and I flew to a nearby wall, hitting it. As soon as I got out, I immediately activated regeneration to heal myself and then Hellfire Flame to attack him with fire. But as soon as the fire was about to reach him, miniature fire extinguishers appeared on my gloves, annoying me. After several attempts I failed to figure out the weakness of this advanced armor. I ordered Andrew not to engage in the fight with the senator because he is dangerous in this armor. I decided to stop playing defensively and start playing offensively, so I used my favorite combination of Strength Enhancer X4 and Regeneration and attacked immediately, but during the impact I noticed that the armor did not retain all the energy of the impact. I realized at this point that the armor has a limit of one quirk at a time, so I created a completely new combination of the quirks I have, namely Strength Enhancer X4, Regeneration, Long Arms, Unbreakable Bones and Muscle Expansion. As soon as I activated all the mentioned quirks, I noticed that my hair changed color from green to white, but I didn't care about it and immediately started attacking. The senator tried to stop me by sending a few rockets from his armor at me, but I dodged and hit him with my new combination, destroying the armor, and the senator himself jumped out of his armor at the last moment before the moment of impact. Then I lost consciousness. The next thing that happened was I woke up in a hospital bed. As I was looking around the room, a little scared, the door opened and the doctor, my student Andrew, and Agent Suchida entered the room one by one. Mr. Shimura, nice that you woke up. I am the doctor assigned to you by the UN, the doctor said as soon as she entered the room. How long was I unconscious? I asked concerned. 5 days, Master. Andrew answered my question. What happened exactly? I asked curiously. So after you used your new combination and destroyed the now former senator's armor, you passed out due to the abuse of your quirk, and interestingly enough, as soon as you passed out, your hair went back to its previous color. Then the police called by Agent Suchida arrived and arrested Roman Kasowski for terrorism and other crimes. Then you and Shio were taken to the hospital where they patched you up and him. Andrew explained. Great, how long will it take me to stay in the hospital? I asked curiously. 2 to 3 weeks, the doctor said. At least the mission was successful, said Agent Suchida. Yes, Andrew said. Question, what happened to the rest of the armor? I asked curiously. It was confiscated by the UN, Agent Suchida explained. With all due respect, if it's not a problem, I would like to keep this armor and have it analyzed at my company. I asked curiously. Let it be, this armor is just a pile of scrap now, said Agent Suchida. Chapter 8, Meeting the Yaoyorozu Family. Izuku POV. Sunday. It's been 2 months since Andrew and I returned to America from our trip to Poland where we had a mission from the UN. Andrew decided that during this time he would train in his werewolf form because he could now 100% control his animal nature. Now he decided to visit the graves of his loved ones, so I decided not to disturb him. For example, I took care of my company a bit to get up from 98th place to at least 75th place in the ranking of the most profitable companies. While leaving one of the boring company meetings, I received a notification on my phone from the American Hero Public Safety Commission that they had a mission for me and that I had to meet them in 3 hours to discuss the details of the mission. I was interested immediately because HPSC rarely gives me missions because I am currently the 3rd strongest hero in their arsenal, where Star and Stripe is the strongest, and right behind her is Black Phoenix. So I decided to go to the HPSC headquarters in Washington at the appointed time to see what mission they have for me. As always, every time I meet the president of the American HPSC, she always greets me coldly. Sometimes I feel like it's because I'm currently the youngest hero on the planet, and she doesn't like me for it. No matter, as soon as I entered the office I greeted the president of the HPSC, and she immediately told me to sit down because it would take some time. Name, Louise Thompson. Age 34. Height, 150 centimeters 4 feet 11 inches. Blood type 0. Quirk, fear. It allows the user to produce special pheromones that cause a fear effect in people nearby. Alright. I called you because I have a mission for you, said the HPSC president, giving me a folder with documents. I didn't say anything while reading the documents in the briefcase. So? The HPSC president asked. From what I understood from the documents, the Yaoyorozu family asked for protection of their daughter because they suspect that the villains want to kidnap her as a hostage to blackmail the Yaoyorozu company so that they do not sign a contract with the United States government. I asked. That's correct. The Yaoyorozu company is to sign a contract next week with the government to build 20 new ships for the Navy, but some people do not like it. the HPSC president explained. With all due respect. As far as I know, there are better heroes for security work, such as Quiet Protector or Silver Shield. Why does it have to be me? I asked curiously. Because Mr. Shimura, from our information, you both went to the same school together before Mr. and Mrs. Yaoyorozu moved their daughter to homeschooling, the HPSC president explained. That's correct. We went to kindergarten together for 1 year before Momo moved to homeschooling, but that was a long time ago. I explained our history. In other words, do you have any history with her? However, your mission is to protect Miss Momo Yaoyorozu and national security depends on it, the HPSC president asked. Unfortunately, I replied. This is your mission, Phantom. Tomorrow go to the Yaoyorozu family's summer house where you will live for a week for the mission. Mr. and Mrs. Yaoyorozu are expecting you and have prepared a room for you right next to their daughter's room. Once you get there, you'll have to keep an eye on Miss Momo Yaoyorozu for a whole week until the contract is signed next Monday, the HPSC president explained. Understood, I answered after a moment. Good, the HPSC president said. Time jumped the next day. The small vacation home of the Yaoyorozu family. Oh, Buck, if it's supposed to be a small summer house, I don't want to see their main house, I said in my mind, horrified by the size of the supposedly small vacation home. After I woke up from the shock of seeing the supposedly small house, I decided to ring the gate, and it immediately opened. As soon as I went to the front door, when I wanted to knock on the door, the maid answered. Hello, my name is Kanna Agano. I am the personal maid of the Yaoyorozu family. Mr. and Mrs. Yaoyorozu are waiting for you in the living room, Mr. Shimura, said the maid. Thank you and please lead the way. I thanked her and asked to be taken to the living room. I followed the maid, passing through the corridors. I admired the beauty of the house, but this can be expected for a family that owns a company that is in the top 10 most successful companies in the world. As soon as we reached the double doors leading to the living room, the maid opened the door only to find the sight of a beautiful living room that could only be rivaled by a 5-star hotel. As soon as I entered the living room, I found 2 people sitting on the couch. One of them is a man who looks to be in his 30s in a high-quality tuxedo. The other is a beautiful woman who looks like she is in her early 20s with surprisingly large breasts. I immediately knew that they were Hoshi and Meo Yaoyorozu, Momo's parents. Name, Hoshi Yaoyorozu. Age 33. Height, 171 centimeters 5 feet 6 inches. Blood type A. Quirk, hemomorphy. The user can create anything they can think of, but it uses up the user's blood, and the more large and complicated the creation, the more blood is required. Unfortunately, the user cannot create fantasy-like materials. Oh, Mr. Shimura, nice to meet you, Hoshi Yaoyorozu said, extending his hand. Likewise, Mr. Yaoyorozu, I replied, shaking his hand. Name, Meo Yaoyorozu. Age 31. Height, 180 centimeters 5 feet 9 inches. Breast size error. Blood type 0. Quirk, fat manipulation. The quirk allows the user's fat to be manipulated in any way, such as moving it to other parts of the body. Unfortunately, the user will become malnourished after overusing the quirk. Era. I must say that you are quite handsome, Meo Yaoyorozu said with a smile on her face. Let's get down to business before my wife does something inappropriate, okay? Hoshi Yaoyorozu said, giving his wife a look. Good, I replied. Hero Public Safety Commission told us all about your mission, and I had a room prepared according to the plan directly across from my daughter's room. However, there is one thing that bothers me. HPSC said they are sending one hero who has a history with my daughter. From your appearance, you look at least 25 years old, Hoshi Yaoyorozu said uncertainly. It is true that I have a common history with your daughter, but the HPSC forbade me to reveal my true identity. But for the purpose of this mission, they decided that you were trusted and that you would not reveal my identity to anyone, I explained. So, who are you? I know your hero name is Phantom, and that's all we know, Meo Yaoyorozu asked curiously. Let me change my appearance to my real one, then I will introduce myself, I said, getting up from the couch and activating appearance change to change back to my old appearance. Nice to see you after many years, My name used to be Izuku Yagi, but now my name is Shimura. I introduced myself. Izuku, Hoshi and Meo said together in surprise. Correct, it's nice to see you after all these years, I said. They both didn't know what to say. The last time we saw you was at the end of kindergarten when we moved Momo to homeschooling, Meo Yaoyorozu said. That's correct, I said. A few years later, when Momo wanted to meet you, your family didn't know who she was talking about, Hoshi Yaoyorozu said. It was because they neglected me in favor of their golden child in the form of my twin sister. All because I was quirkless, I explained. These bastards neglecting a child just because they don't have a quirk, Meo Yaoyorozu said furiously. But wait a moment, if you're quirkless, how do you explain all the different quirks you use? Hoshi Yaoyorozu asked curiously. So long story short, the doctor who examined me was a piece of crap who got the results wrong and declared me quirkless, which caused my parents to neglect me, and my sister's friends bullied me where my sister is betraying my trust. I explained as simply as possible. I'm sorry, boy, Hoshi Yaoyorozu said. You don't have to feel guilty about my past, I said. But we didn't do anything when we could have, Meo Yaoyorozu explained. My past is only the past, now it's about the future, I said, detecting the person approaching. As soon as I detected the approaching person thanks to Life Detector, I quickly activated Appearance Change and returned to the appearance I had as Ichigo Yakushimura. As soon as I changed, Mr. and Mrs. Yaoyorozu were a bit surprised because of my sudden transformation, but as soon as the double doors to the living room were opened and a black-haired girl emerged. That girl is none other than Momo Yaoyorozu, the girl I have to protect. Name: Momo Yaoyorozu. Age: 11. Quirk: Creation. The quirk allows the user to create any item provided they know the atomic structure of the item they need, such as a weapon or tool. Unfortunately, the user cannot create any organic object or living creature, e.g. an animal or a human. The user's fat tissue is used to create a given item. The larger the item, the more fat it needs to create. Hello, my name is Momo Yaoyorozu. I heard that you are tasked with being my bodyguard for a week until my father signs the contract with the United States government on Monday, Momo said, bowing. Correct, my name is Izuku Shimura. I am better known as a hero to everyone, Phantom. I introduced myself. Honey, why don't you show Mr. Shimura around? Meo Yaoyorozu said with a small smile on her face. Okay, mother, Momo replied to her mother with a little blush. Momo POV. I left the living room with Mr. Shimura and started showing him around, but I still feel like he looks familiar to me. I started showing him around the yard where there was an Olympic swimming pool, stables and a golf course belonging to my father. Then I showed him around the ground floor of our holiday home, where there's a library, a dining room, a cinema room and several other rooms. On the first floor there are mainly bedrooms. On the second floor there is a gym, ballet room, dojo and more. This is your bedroom, Mr. Shimura. It's across from mine, I said. Thank you, he replied. Izuku POV. As soon as I thanked her, I immediately opened the door to my room and I went inside, where, to my surprise, the room was practically like a 5-star hotel. So I have an interesting week ahead of me, I said, looking at my temporary room. Tuesday. Tuesday passed surprisingly quickly. Nothing interesting happened except Momo wanted to take a walk in the park, so I had to accompany her. In the park, some idiot tried to punch her, so I quickly appeared in front of Momo and activated Unbreakable Bones as his fist hit my chest, the bones in it being destroyed by the force of the impact. Then I knocked him out with one punch and called the police to deal with him, and then I went with Momo and continued walking around the park. Wednesday. On Wednesday, Momo stayed at home and spent a lot of time in the home library, reading many books. Momo is definitely a fan of Knight Rider's books, which are characterized by the romance genre. I personally like Stillwell's books, such as The Wolf and the Rabbit, or Dad Problems. Author's note: I didn't want to advertise for anyone, but I like the work of these users, so you can check out their profiles. Thursday. On Thursday, Momo and I went to the cinema for a pre-Quirk era movie marathon where they played masterpieces such as The Godfather, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Dark Knight, The Searchers, and many more. We spent over 16 hours watching movies. During the entire marathon, we ate a total of 30 buckets of popcorn with caramel each, and drank a total of 120 liters of Pepsi each, but it was worth it. As soon as we left the cinema, some clown tried to kidnap Momo, but I quickly activated Hellfire Flame and set his shoes on fire, and as soon as he started to panic, I knocked him out and extinguished his shoes. Friday. On Friday, I helped her a little with her training, from gymnastics to weightlifting. But why does she have to wear a tight two-piece gymnastics suit? After training at the home gym, I helped her study where I accidentally caught her snacking on a hamburger. While studying, I don't even want to know where she keeps that hamburger. Saturday. On Saturday, we went to a museum dedicated to the samurai era in Japan. Momo was excited about the knowledge the museum shared during the tour. As soon as we left the museum, we entered the Yaoyorozu family's limousine, and when we were about halfway there, a truck hit us, knocking the limousine onto its roof. As soon as I woke up, it was too late. Momo Yaoyorozu had been kidnapped. As soon as I got out of the limousine, I encountered the local police chief who wanted to interrogate me. I said everything I knew and went on my way. Luckily, I placed a tracking device in Momo's hood as soon as we left the house. The device showed that Momo was somewhere in the outskirts of the city, so I immediately changed into my hero clothes and activated Gate to get there. As soon as I left the portal, I found myself on the roof of a building that looked like a club called Omega. Without a second thought, I activated Chameleon to become invisible and slipped inside, where I found myself in a room that looked like a VIP room. I checked the entire room and didn't find anything interesting, so I decided to activate Detective's Eyes, and as soon as I looked around, I saw a hidden elevator behind the wall. I managed to find the hidden button and the elevator revealed itself. I went inside and pressed the button and went down to the basement, still remaining invisible. As soon as the elevator doors opened, I got out of it to find myself in some underground complex. I decided to explore a bit, and found a huge room that looked like a warehouse filled with cocaine packages. Suddenly the door opened and a girl with white hair who looked like an MMA fighter walked into the room. As soon as she was loading the packages of cocaine onto the cart, I left the room to find Momo. I walked through several corridors, passing a dozen or so low-level thugs thanks to my invisibility. I searched a dozen or so rooms, but there was no sign of Momo, where I reached something that resembled an underground hangar with several trucks. I immediately noticed an unconscious Momo on a table near the wall, guarded by two thugs. "This will be interesting," I said mentally. Without a moment's hesitation, I approached the first thug and knocked him out, and then I went to the second one and kicked him in the knee, which bent it in the wrong direction. Before the idiot could scream out loud, I used electricity manipulation and gave him a light electric shock. I then looked around and was sure no one had heard anything. Once I was sure no one had noticed anything, I picked up the unconscious Momo married style, and quickly used Gate, teleporting us to the roof of the building. I placed Momo gently on the roof and checked her pulse. Luckily she had a vein and she was only unconscious due to some type of drug. Once I was sure that Momo was safe, I used Gate again to get back to the basement, where then, pissed off, I activated creation of weapons to create my favorite weapons, Mercy and Redemption, setting them to stun ammunition, and activated Barrier to become bulletproof. Then I went to talk to these thugs for a bit. Momo POV. I woke up with a huge headache in a place that looks like the roof of some seedy nightclub. The last thing I remember is that I came back from the museum in the limousine with Mr. Shimura when suddenly boom, and I wake up here on the roof. Suddenly, a portal opened and Mr. Shimura emerged in his hero costume covered in blood and suddenly fell to the ground. I started to panic, but I quickly rushed to my friend's body to check his pulse, where luckily he was alive and just collapsed from exhaustion. Suddenly his body started to shrink and I noticed that his brown hair had turned green. I hesitated a bit but decided to remove his mask from my face. When I did, my face looked like I saw a ghost in front of me. Izuku Shimura is actually my friend from kindergarten, Izuku Yagi? The police, an ambulance, and a person who introduced himself as the president of the American Hero Public Safety Commission quickly arrived and took him away, so I went with her. We arrived at the nearest hospital where the doctor checked me. After the checkup, I went to the room where Izuku was located only to meet the HPSC president in front of the doors. So you know the Phantom's true identity? HPSC President asked. That's correct, I answered. Did you know, child, that I could arrest you for knowing his secret? HPSC President asked. Why would you want me arrested? For finding out my friend is alive? I asked, slightly angry. Little girl, you don't know what he's been through? Even who his father is? HPSC President asked. I know very well that his parents neglected him just because he was quirkless. And his father is Toshinori Yagi, I answered. So you only know half the truth. It was true that his family had neglected him in favor of their golden child. However, Toshinori Yagi is Izuku's stepfather, HPSC President explained. What? I asked. Goodbye, little girl, HPSC President said. As soon as the HPSC President left, I stared at the door to Izuku's room, still thinking about what the HPSC President said. If Toshinori Yagi is Izuku's stepfather, who is his biological father? I finally gathered the courage and entered the room where I met a doctor who had finished examining him, so I decided to ask him about Izuku's condition, where he replied that he was alive, but that he had strained his quirk to such an extent that he passed out from exhaustion. I decided to ask the doctor if he knew when he would wake up, but the doctor said tomorrow at the earliest before leaving the room. Not knowing what to do with myself, I decided to send a message to my parents and wrote that I would stay with him until Izuku wakes up. To my surprise, my father wrote back immediately, asking if I knew the truth. I wrote that I knew that Izuku Shimura was Izuku Yagi, and I decided to spend the night in the hospital, where my father agreed. Izuku POV. Sunday. I woke up in an unfamiliar room. As soon as I smelled the medicine, I immediately knew I was in the hospital. I looked around the room and noticed Momo sleeping in a chair, so I decided not to wake her up and got out of bed only to feel my whole body go stiff. I decided to do a small warm-up to relax the muscles a bit, and I noticed that Momo was starting to wake up. I quickly put something on just so Momo wouldn't see me in my underwear. What time is it? Momo asked, yawning at first. It looks like it's almost noon, I replied. Izuku, Momo shouted, slightly scared. Silence, don't yell, I said. Sorry, Momo apologized. So did you know? I asked curiously. That Izuku Shimura aka Phantom is Izuku Yagi? Yes, Momo replied. Great, I said. Just tell me what happened to you, Momo asked. In short, reality kicked me in the butt, I explained in short. What? Momo asked. First, my visit to the doctor where I found out that I was quirkless. Then my parents started neglecting me to such an extent that I had to earn money to have food, clothes, and other necessary things. Then my sister and my ex-friends started bullying me just because I had dreams of being a hero. And it was the same thing every day for 6 years until a pissed-off Pomeranian advised me to jump off the roof and pray for a quirk in the next life. I explained in detail. Oh God, Momo said, covering her mouth with her hands. On the same day as that mad dog advised me, something happened, I said. What happened? Momo asked. I caught All Might talking to my gifted sister. And suddenly he turned into my father. The man I considered my father was Japan's one hero. This hypocrite had a quirk that he could pass on to another person, and he chose my sister who already had the quirk over me, and until Izumi asked him why, he said, he does not have the heart of a true hero, nor a body worthy of this quirk. When I heard this, something woke up inside me. Rage, I explained. Momo didn't know what to say. As soon as evening came, I ran away from home where it turned out that I had a quirk. I explained. What? But you said that the doctor said you were quirkless, so how do you have a quirk? Momo asked curiously. My quirk is called All for All, and it allows me to take, give, copy, evolve, combine, erase, and disable quirks, I explained. This is a super OP quirk, Momo said. I know, and so far I have like 33 quirks, I explained. So what now? Momo asked. So it's best that I take you to your parents because tomorrow your father will sign the contract and my mission will be completed, I explained. Okay, I just have one question, Momo said. What happened in that nightclub that you were covered in blood? Momo asked curiously. You do not want to know, I said with a serious face. Okay, Momo said a little scared. And so we went to the reception to discharge me, and then when we left the hospital, I activated gate and teleported the two of us centrally to the door of Momo's house. As soon as we walked in, Yaoyorozu, Momo's mother, grabbed the two of us and hugged us where she crushed us with her big breasts. After this interesting greeting, I decided to go to my room to my laptop to report to the American Hero Public Safety Commission regarding the mission. After I finished giving my report, I heard a knock on the door, so I decided to open it to meet Kana Agano, the maid, who said that Hoshi Yaoyorozu wanted to see me in his office. As soon as I went to his office, he opened the door and told me to sit down, so I did. Then he started telling me how grateful he was that he saved his daughter, and so on. Author's note: I'm not lazy. In a nutshell, you will find out what was happening in the office in later chapters. Monday came and I finally saw the signing of the contract between the Yaoyorozu family company and the United States government. When the contract was signed, I was in my room, slowly packing, watching TV, when suddenly someone knocked on the door. I went to open the door and to my surprise it was Momo. Hey Izuku, I came to say goodbye to you because I know your mission is complete and you're going to go home, Momo said, slightly sad. What exactly are you talking about, Momo? I asked. The last time we saw each other was at the end of kindergarten. It's been a really long time since then. I just want to say that I'm glad you're alive and well, Momo said as she approached Izuku. Momo, why did you kiss me? I asked, blushing a little. Because I can, and besides, I'm going to join UA when I turn 15 to become a hero, Momo explained. I wish you luck, I said. After that, I used gate to teleport back to my house with my luggage, where I was greeted by Andrew. I immediately went to my room to unpack, still thinking about what Momo said. UA? Interesting, I said in my mind, looking out the window. List of quirks that Izuku has. All for all allows the user to take, give, copy, evolve, combine, erase and disable quirks. All type Izuku's original quirk. Chameleon grants its user the abilities of a chameleon. The user is able to stick and climb on walls, stretch out their long tongue. The user can also camouflage their entire body, which can be used to evade opponents and conduct surprise attacks. Transformation type taken from Hiroto Akino Thug No. 1. Long arms allows the user to extend their arms. Transformation type taken from Yuta Mokichi Thug No. 2. Appearance change: the user can freely change his clothes and appearance, e.g. skin color, age, height and more, in a few seconds. Transformation type copied and evolved from Nicholas Hotto. Lawyer: the quirk allows the user to understand all types of documents, as long as they are in physical, not electronic form. Emitter type copied from bank employee Emily Parrish. Electricity manipulation allows the user to generate and control all types of electricity. Emitter type copied and evolved from the electrician who checked Izuku's house. Shadow manipulation allows the user to manipulate shadows in any way, e.g. create objects made of shadow or enter and hide in shadows. Emitter type copied and evolved from one of his employees. Forced quirk activation allows the user to forcefully activate someone's quirk against their will. Whether the target is conscious or not, the quirk will work without fail, thus giving the user a method to use their allies' quirks without having to worry about their state. They are also able to use it on themselves, even if their body is paralyzed in some way. Emitter type copied from a child who wanted to commit suicide. Universal language: this quirk allows the user to understand and speak any language. Emitter type copied from the principal when he receives proof of completion of primary school. Flight allows the user to levitate and fly at high speeds. Emitter type copied from American Hero 27 Black Flight. Regeneration: it allows the user to rapidly accelerate the body's regeneration at the same time the user sacrifices energy and becomes sleepy. Transformation type copied from American Hero 115 The High King. Hellfire Flame allows the user to generate and control flames from their body up to 2000 degrees Celsius. Emitter type Izuku copied 5 fire quirks and combined them with flame. Chains: it allows the user to create chains up to 100 meters long with their hands. Emitter type copied from American Hero 55 The Guardian. Restoration: the user can repair any non-living object by touching it. Emitter type copied from an elderly woman he saved from a fire. Barrier allows the user to create a telekinetic barrier around them, in various shapes. Emitter type copied from one of the heroes. Gills: it allows the user to create a pair of gills around their neck so they can breathe in water. Transformation type copied from a girl he saved from a villain in Dallas, Texas. Strength Enhancer X4 increases the user's strength by 5 times, e.g. if the user can lift a maximum of 50 kilograms 110.23 pounds, then after using this quirk he or she can lift a maximum of 250 kilograms 551.16 pounds. Emitter type copied from a woman in the child kidnapper's hideout and from other people. Creation of weapons: it allows you to create all types of weapons that the user wants, and also chooses the appearance. Firearms have infinite ammunition. The only problem is that the created weapon disappears as soon as the user stops touching it. Emitter type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Infertility: as the name itself says, the user becomes infertile. Mutant type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Magnetize: it allows the user to control metal objects within a range of 20 meters from the user. Emitter type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Octopus arms: it allows you to create octopus arms on the user's body and change individual body parts, e.g. fingers or the entire arm. Transformation type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Earth King: the user can manipulate the earth in any way they want. Emitter type copied from the leader of the Force of the Unknown and from other people and combine them into one. Scanning: it allows the user to scan a person to obtain the necessary information such as age, height, quirk, and others. Emitter type copied from one of the kidnappers of the president's daughter. Pocket Dimension: it allows the user to create small portals in which they can store various items. Emitter type copied from the daughter of the President of America. Mind Control: it allows the user to take over an opponent's mind and command them in any way they want, provided that the opponent looks the user straight in the eye. The only way for an opponent to no longer be under the user's control is for the user to lose focus. Emitter type taken away from one of the kidnappers of the president's daughter. Life Detector: Life Detector allows the user to see another person's life energy in the form of a green aura. Emitter type copied from an agent from the International Commission of Heroes. Detective's Eyes: it allows the user to see different things depending on the color of the glow that the eyes have, e.g. X-ray is red, ultraviolet is blue, and others. Emitter type copied and evolved from the Secretary of the Senator from Poland. Gate allows the user to create swirling portals made of dark mist through which they can travel or move others anywhere on Earth as long as the user knows the coordinates. Emitter type taken from a smuggler from Poland. Unbreakable Bones gives the user unbreakable bones. Mutant type taken from Momo in Poland. Muscle Expansion: muscle expansion allows the user to expand and strengthen their muscles, granting them a significant increase in physical strength. Transformation type taken from Momo in Poland. Sixth Sense: this quirk allows the user to detect any potential threats in the surrounding area. Emitter type taken from Momo in Poland. Chapter 9: Over the Years. Izuku POV. Many years have passed since I met Momo and her family after all these years. In between working as CEO of Shimura Corporation and being a hero, I was resting. As CEO of Shimura Corporation, I managed to break into the top 75 most profitable corporations in the world and decided to devote more attention to smaller sectors of his corporation such as a film studio and others. As a hero, I performed many missions for the Hero Public Safety Commission where they offered me a place in the ranking as one of the top 10 heroes, where I refused, saying that I was going to join one of the hero schools and become a hero. In the meantime, I acquired some new quirks that will be useful to me, such as air manipulation, supernap, rocket launchers, pain nullification, technology manipulation, frost touch, and 2 strength enhancers. By the way, I took Andrew on one mission where we had to help Star and Stripe, and we caught one villain who wanted to use some kind of gas to destroy Texas. Of course, we managed to stop him just in time. Andrew accidentally asked Kathleen one of the 3 things you shouldn't ask a woman. Of course, due to his stupidity, he was beaten by Kathleen because out of curiosity he asked her about her age. I managed to train in extreme temperatures to increase my natural immunity to such an extent that I can sit in a volcano near lava and not worry about anything, or sit in the Arctic only in my underwear for several hours. However, sometimes I had the impression that someone was constantly watching me from a distance, and whenever I tried to catch that person, he suddenly disappeared a few centimeters from my hand, which irritated me a bit. Later I noticed that Andrew was looking at us strangely, so I decided to ask him what was going on, and he was wondering if I would like to go back to Japan someday. I didn't know what to say, so I said that sooner or later I wouldn't be able to escape from my past, so I would have to meet them face to face. Andrew said that he was going to go to Japan to join the UA Hero School. As soon as he said the name of the school, I immediately remembered all the good times I had with my aunts and uncles before my whole world turned upside down. After thinking for a while, I said that I was going to join him on his trip to Japan. Niza POV. Several years have passed since the fateful night when everyone found out what happened in the Yagi family. I would personally arrest Tashinori and Inko and throw them into Tartarus for what they did, but the Hero Public Safety Commission will not let me just because the entire country is built on one pillar, which is All Might. I keep thinking about what Sir Naikai told me about the future, where he told me that we would meet Izuku 2 weeks before the entrance exam, and I was also interested in the debut of one of the new heroes in America called Phantom, where I noticed that he has a few quirks, but in every interview he says that his quirk allows him to copy other quirks. For a limited time, where I highly doubt it, and I'd become interested in him because whenever I see him on TV he still seems familiar to me. I have been collecting information about this whole Phantom for several days, and so far I have determined that he was not born and appeared about 4 years ago out of nowhere in America. Additionally, he saved more people in 1 year than heroes like All Might, Endeavor or Best Genius saved in their entire careers. Interesting. Plus, it turns out that while rescuing kidnapped people by a group called the Force of the Unknown, one of the kidnapped decided to join him. Really, whoever he is really interesting. Tashinori POV. It's been 4 years since Izuku ran away from home, and a lot of things have changed in that time. I gave one for all to Izumi and helped her with training. However, for some reason Izumi cannot exceed 5%, where whenever she tries to exceed the 5% limit, the quirk harms her body where it breaks her bones. I tried everything I knew to help Izumi. I even tried to contact my old sidekick Sir Naitai and my old teacher, but they are still mad at me for that fateful birthday. Over the last few years since Izuku ran away from home, my time as hero has begun to rapidly decrease from 48 hours at the beginning to 5 hours now. I was able to meet with the Hero Public Safety Commission, and they managed to get me a job at UA as a heroics teacher without obtaining a teaching certificate. To top it all off, one of the major companies that produces toys and other things with my image on them has terminated their contract with me and my wife. If I remember correctly, the company belonged to the Yaoyorozu family. Without this company's support, All Might merchandise dropped in sales from 62% to just 34% in popularity. Why does this world hate me? All for one POV. After the test of my new project in Poland, which was surprisingly successful, I asked Dr. Kyudai Garaki to start working on other Noma. Tenko, the boy I found on the street, has become interested in this whole being a villain thing, but he still has a lot to learn. My spies equipped with special quirks, whom I sent to America to spy on my son, keep reporting to me what is happening to him. The only thing that worries me about my son is that when he returns to Japan, we will definitely meet on different sides of the barricade, but I don't want to hurt my own son. Dr. Garaki recently made a breakthrough in the Nomu project, where he managed to create the first sentient Nomu, which he named this subspecies as high-end Nomu, using the body of some young man known as Oboro Shirikumo, who was killed by the villain, giving him a quirk called Warp, which then combined with his already existing quirk called Cloud to create a warp gate, which turned his body into a black mist. Additionally, Dr. Garaki created a special support item in the form of a metal brace around his neck that holds his body together. 2 years ago I left my faithful bodyguard called Tsukasa Sekiguchi, or better known as Gigantomachia, in the mountains about 300 kilometers from the nearest town. I told him to wait patiently because one day my successor will come and take over my empire. I must admit that I regret leaving Gigantomachia alone in the mountains, but unfortunately after my last fight with All Might, I have to keep a low profile until they think I'm dead. 10 upper-tier Nomu which can confidently go into battle with top heroes, and 3 high-end Nomu. All Nomu have been equipped with a variety of quirks. All this to destroy this entire perfect society of heroes that this blonde All Might has created. Chapter 10. Back to Japan. Izuku POV. I just finished packing my things to go back to Japan. Luckily, thanks to appearance change, I'm saving on clothes because whenever I use this quirk, my clothes change to what I want. Whenever I think about seeing these bastards in Japan, my blood boils. Unfortunately, I decided to go to Japan to earn my hero license, so I will enroll in UA high school for 3 years to earn it. Just as I was checking if I had packed everything I would need, I went downstairs to the kitchen where I saw Andrew scrolling through messages on his phone. "Hey Andrew, what are you looking at?" I asked curiously. "Oh hey master, I was looking at flights to Japan for us." Andrew explained what he was doing. "Do not worry about that," I said to my student. "Why?" Andrew asked. "We'll take my private jet," I replied. "You own a private jet? Since when?" Andrew asked, surprised. "I bought it about 5 months ago," I replied. After that, I made dinner for us and we ate it. Then we loaded our luggage into the car and drove to the airport in Orlando, Florida, where our private jet was waiting for us that day. As soon as we got through the paperwork and got the green light to board the jet, I copied a quirk called Multiplier from one of the airport workers. As soon as we boarded, Andrew's eyes widened in surprise. "Okay, I have to say, master, you had to buy a private jet and a brand new one at that," Andrew said. "Come on, I don't have anything to spend my money on," I replied. "What do you mean?" Andrew asked. "My current private account balance is $3,979,193,943, I answered the question. $3,979,193,943 equals $602,262,940,854.88 "Are you kidding me, master?" Andrew asked, horrified. "Unfortunately not. Shimura Industries is currently one of the top 100 largest companies in the world," I replied. "What about the company account?" Andrew asked. "You don't want to know, but I can confidently say that it has over 18 zeros," I said. "Shit," Andrew said quietly. "If you're interested, we should be in Japan in about 13 hours, so we still have plenty of time," I said, looking at my watch. After that, Andrew turned on his phone and watched videos from HeroTube, while I turned on my laptop and looked through news from Japan out of habit. Somewhere around 7 p.m. we had a king crab dinner on the jet, where Andrew boldly admitted that it was the best crab he had ever eaten. Izumi POV. Recently, I was training hard for the UA entrance exam, which will take place in 10 months, so that I could become a hero, so that I could find my brother and apologize to him for everything. After finishing the training and a quick shower, I sat down in my room at my desk and turned on my laptop to look for some information when I came across an article about a certain American hero called the Phantom. Interestingly, during fights with villains, he shows various quirks, from stretching his arms, giving electric shocks, flying, and ending with repairing the fight sites. From interviews with him, people learn that his quirk allows him to copy other people's quirks for 24 hours. This is a cover so that people don't find out that he can take and give quirks to others. Everything has changed since that fateful birthday. Over the years, I feel like I've lost the will to live. It was all because of my stupidity. If I hadn't accepted my father's offer, Izuku would still be with us. Katsuki doesn't want anything to do with me. Katsumi has improved a bit over time, where she doesn't suddenly get angry like her brother. When it comes to Shoto and Shoka, I don't know what happened to them for a long time. As for my parents, father kept trying to find Izuku on his own, where apparently the Hero Public Safety Commission banned him from looking for him, saying it wasn't worth looking for the quirkless brat. The mother has recently gained some weight due to sadness. My uncles and cousins don't want to talk to our family, which is no surprise. Grandpa GT apparently disappeared, where no one has seen him for some time. However, I still only think about my older brother and the fact that I betrayed his trust. My goal is to find him and apologize to him for what I did. Izuku POV. We landed by jet in Tokyo and took a taxi to my hotel, where we were greeted by the hotel manager himself. The hotel manager, Deku, offered us the 2 best rooms in the building, but we refused, saying that we would stay in the hotel for 6 months until our house was built. Andrew decided to explore the city of Tokyo, and I went to my room and sat at my desk and looked through the offers for sale of land on the outskirts of Mistreated city. Fortunately, I found an offer from a seller of a plot of 150,000 square feet. I immediately contacted the seller and made an appointment to meet there around 4 p.m. With about 6 hours until the meeting, I decided to take a nap, set the alarm for 3 p.m. and closed my eyes, turning off super nap to sleep a little normally. This is what the hotel belonging to Shimura Industries looks like. When I suddenly opened my eyes, I found myself in a dark room with doors but no windows. I quickly started looking around but noticed that my whole body was made of black smoke. Suddenly, a man with long white hair appeared in the middle of the room, kneeling towards the door, when suddenly the door opened and a man with short white hair and a black suit appeared and entered the room. I immediately recognized the man who entered the room. It was my biological father, Hisashi Midoriya. My father approached the man who was kneeling and began to speak. "So, little brother? Will you eventually join me?" my father said to a man I didn't know. "Never, I will never join you, brother," the stranger said. "Brother? So this is my uncle," I said in my mind, looking at what was happening. "However, I am not a monster and I decided to give you one of the meta abilities that I acquired. This is power stockpiling, which will be perfect for you," my father said, grabbing my uncle's face. "Hey," my uncle screamed. "At least now you'll be more useful," my father said as he left my uncle. "Someone will defeat you," my uncle said with anger. "I'm looking forward to it. See you soon, little brother," my father said as he left the room. "Wait, what was that?" I said in my mind. After that, I immediately opened my eyes and looked at the clock, which started ringing. At first I didn't know what it was and I decided not to think about it and focus on what was needed. I immediately put on my business tuxedo and left the hotel and headed towards the metro stop to go to Mistreated. While standing at the bus stop, I saw that Katsuki and Katsumi were standing at the other end of the bus stop. I decided to get a little closer so that it looked like I wanted to sit on the bench next to them. Fortunately, I am still transformed into my second form, which is Ichigo Yakushimaru. "Brother, you need to change," Katsumi told her brother. "I don't know what you're talking about," Katsuki said without even looking at his sister. "What I mean is that the Hero Public Safety Commission cleared you of all charges just because you had a hero quirk, and that's all." Katsumi explained to her brother his situation. "And what? These guys from the very top don't want this hero material to go to waste," Katsuki said with a smile on his face. "You're impossible sometimes, you know that," Katsumi said. "Whatever," Katsuki said. "Interesting. It seems that after I ran away from home, they and probably Uncle Niza found out about me," I said in my mind. As soon as my transport arrived, I sat down and went to the meeting place, where I must say that the area is beautiful. The seller offered the starting price as 100 million yen, which in my situation is a nothing. Without negotiations, I accepted the price, signed the seller's agreement, and transferred the money to his account. I don't know what the land prices are in Japan. I took the price out of my ass, so please don't punish me. Now that I have bought the land, all I have to do is hire a construction company to build my house. I started browsing various companies on my phone and came across a company called Uraraka Constructions, where they offered good prices and quick construction, so I called them and made an appointment for the next day. As soon as I returned to the hotel, I saw Andrew, who had fallen asleep, so I decided not to wake him up, sat on the couch, turned on my laptop and searched through house plans. Time skipped the next day. The next day at 10 a.m. I quickly put on a suit and left. I went to the office by taxi where the owner of the company and his wife were waiting for me. "Welcome. You must be Ichigo Yakushimaru, an employee of Shimura Industries if I'm not mistaken," Mr. Uraraka said. "That's correct, sir. If you don't mind, let's get down to business straight away," I replied. "I have no problems with that," Mr. Uraraka said. Me either, Mrs. Uraraka said. Very well. Shimura Industries would like to hire your company to build a large mansion on the outskirts of Mizutafa City. Here is a geographical map with the plot marked, I explained. Interesting. This plot is over 100,000 square feet, Mr. Uraraka said, looking at the plot map. 150,000 square feet to be exact, I said, correcting Mr. Uraraka. Do you have a house plan, or will we have to draw it from scratch? Mrs. Uraraka asked. No need, I currently have a house plan here, I said, taking out the construction plan from my briefcase. It's really a big job, sir. I don't know if Shimura Industries can finance the construction of such a house, Mr. Uraraka said, looking at the plan of the building. Oh, please don't worry about the finances, I said. At this point, I activated Pocket Dimension and took out a black suitcase, placed it down in the direction of the company owners, and opened it. Mr. and Mrs. Uraraka opened their eyes wide when they saw the contents. If you allow, here is an advance payment. There is currently $360,000 in this suitcase. You will receive the same amount after the construction is completed. I said it straight to the owners of the construction company. So we can sign a construction contract? I asked. Of course, sir, Mrs. Uraraka said, running quickly to the computer to print the contract. We will start work after tomorrow and should be finished in 7 months, Mr. Uraraka said, explaining to me how long it should take to build. Thank you, I responded by reading the contract and then signing it. Deku's cars and motorcycles. Cars. Audi A4 2023, his first car which he imported from America, a car used to work. Lamborghini Revuelto, a car for parties. 1969 Dodge Charger. VW Transporter 2023, it has a seat for the driver and 7 seats for passengers. Motorcycles. Ducati Supersport 2023. Honda CBR 1000 RRR Fireblade SP 30th Anniversary. Chapter 11, Business in HPSC. Izuku POV. 2 weeks have passed since the Uraraka company finished building my property, and surprisingly, they really did their best. Of course, a huge 150,000 square foot mansion really costs pennies to me. I just finished my daily workout at my gym of lifting 90 kilograms and doing yoga for 2 hours. As soon as I left the gym, I went upstairs to take a shower and then to my room to change. As soon as I entered the living room, I noticed that Andrew was sitting on books because the entrance exam to UA was in 3 months, so he decided that he would study without my help. I decided to take up Hero matters and therefore decided to go to the Japanese headquarters of the Hero Public Safety Commission to transfer my American Hero license to the Japanese one. For this purpose, I decided to talk to the president of the HPSC in person. I immediately changed into something more elegant and took my car Lamborghini Revuelto and drove straight to the HPSC headquarters in Japan. Once there, I decided to park in the parking lot opposite the building and then use Chameleon to become invisible. Inside, being invisible, I went to the elevator and went to the very top, where there was an office belonging to the president of the HPSC. Luckily for me, my bucking stepfather All Might in his small form got into the elevator at the last moment and went to see the president of the HPSC. So, inside the office, I decided to listen to their conversation for a while remaining invisible. Hello, Madam President. I'm coming to see you regarding the Izuku case, All Might said in his small form. Mr. Yagi, I've told you more than once that we won't waste resources trying to find one quirkless kid, Madam President said with disgust. But Madam President, this one quirkless kid is my stepson and I'm going to find him and apologize for what I did, my stepfather said. Absolutely not, I don't want to hear about my family problems anymore. Izuku Yagi ran away from home for unknown reasons. Do you understand, All Might? Madam President said angrily. Yes, Madam President, my stepfather replied, defeated. Wasting resources for quirkless? What a joke, Madam President said quietly, turning towards the window. The HPSC president doesn't like quirkless? I may use this in the future, I said mentally. I decided to look around the office to make sure there were no cameras, so I used detective's eyes to find wiretaps and technology manipulation to turn off all electrical devices. Once I was sure there were no cameras or wiretaps, I immediately changed into my hero outfit using appearance change and turned off chameleon to become visible again. Phantom? What are you doing in Japan? The president asked, surprised. Nothing special, I just moved here from America permanently, I said. Interesting. I have the impression that you not only wanted to meet me? Madam President asked. I must admit that you are smarter than I expected, Madam President, I replied. Just tell me, what's stopping me from calling security and putting you in a cell in Tartarus for breaking into the Hero Public Safety Commission? Madam President asked, threatening me. Oh, it's simple, it's two things. The first thing is business with me. And the second one is that I turned off all the technology in the entire room and let them send a signal that everything is fine. I explained with a smile on my face she can't see. I admit I'm impressed. Hardly anyone breaks into the HPSC building. Some say it's suicide because there are over 500 heroes on the first 10 floors. Madam President said. Thank you. For an ordinary person, it is effectively suicide. For me, a man with an IQ of 283, this is child's play. Anyway, let's get down to business, I said. All right. What do you mean when you talk about business? Madam President asked curiously. Oh, that's simple. My license will be transferred from America to Japan. I don't care about hero rankings, so I don't care. You will not try to rule over me with your ways. I explained my requirements. And what's stopping me from arresting you? Madam President asked, slightly annoyed. Oh, that's simple. I have enough evidence of all the heroes that the Hero Public Safety Commission, which covered up all the crimes. I wonder what will happen if all the evidence is accidentally sent to all TV stations and the police? I explained the situation. You're bluffing, Madam President said, angry. Are you sure about that? I asked with a smirk on my face. At that moment, I snapped my fingers and 15 videos were played on the computer monitor, with different heroes committing different crimes. Theft from destroyed stores by villains. Raping girls. Abuse of power. Even videos of All Might and Inko neglecting me, Katsuki with Shoto and their friends bullying me. And much, much more. The face of the president of the Hero Public Safety Commission lost all color. Not knowing what he had done, she opened her eyes wide and looked at me. So we have a deal? I asked, extending my hand. Yes. I will immediately contact the U.S. Hero Public Safety Commission regarding the license transfer. I just want to know who I have the pleasure of doing business with, Madam President said, hesitating a little at first. Izuku Shimura, formerly known as Izuku Yagi, I said, along with my old name with disgust. What, but our files say you're quirkless. Where did you get the quirk? Madam President asked, surprised. Oh, that's very simple, you see. I've had a quirk since birth, but I couldn't activate it due to constant bullying from my friends at school and neglect at home by my parents, I explained. But how? Your mother is Inko Yagi aka Magnetic and your father is Tashinori Yagi aka All Might. You should have your mother's quirk like your sister or be quirkless. How is this possible? Madam President asked. Oh, you see, it's very simple. In fact, my biological mother is Inko, but my biological father is not Tashinori, I said. What then? Who is your biological father? Madam President asked curiously. All for One, I said in a serious tone. It is impossible. We made sure that All for One is not in any relationship and does not have any children, Madam President explained. It's true that you were sure that All for One wasn't in any relationship, but you didn't know that All for One is also known as Hisashi Midoriya, I explained. Does he have any evidence about this? Madam President asked. Well, I have a lot, I said. At that moment, I activated Pocket Dimension and took out the journal belonging to my father, the DNA test made with Tashinori's hair that I had conducted after I ran away from home. The president of the HPSC is looking through the documents I gave her. The further she read, the more she started to shake with fear. When she finished reading all the documents, she gave them back to me so that I could put them in my Pocket Dimension. This is truly disturbing news. Japanese villain one who lives for almost 300 years has a child with one of the heroines who then falls in love with Japanese hero one. If the world finds out about it, it will be a disaster for all of Japan. Japan will lose trust in the heroes and crime will skyrocket. Madam President explained. Oh, I know, Madam President. I can only imagine it, I said. How many did you take? Madam President asked. I'm sorry, what? I asked. How many quirks did you take? Madam President asked. Really not much. Only 6 quirks, and I only took them from villains, not civilians or heroes in the 5 years I was in America after my quirk activated. In fact, 1 quirk I took from a bandit I gave to a little girl who was quirkless in America. I explained. So, do we have a deal? I asked. Yes, we do. Your new Japanese license will be available for collection tomorrow morning, Mr. Phantom. Madam President explained. 2 days later. Yesterday I picked up my Japanese hero license from the Hero Public Safety Commission, and I must admit that when I got it, all the agents looked at me like they wanted to kill me. Honestly, Mrs. President informed all the agents working for her, so I don't care, because even if they wanted to arrest me, they would have to bring out really big guns, because I personally have a dozen or so quirks and knowledge about all the quirks that the heroes in the top 100 have, and of course I'll fight them. This morning I announced my debut in Japan on HeroNet, where even Madam President sent all the heroes emails saying that I moved from America and I am now a full-fledged Japanese hero. Where honestly I didn't care. I was currently jumping from roof to roof looking for something interesting in the city of Mistreated when I noticed smoke in the distance, so I decided to see what was happening. I reached the shopping district of Mistreated City where I saw some sludge villain holding some short brown-haired girl hostage. I immediately started analyzing the area and noticed 4 heroes in the form of Kamui Woods, Empty Lady, Backdraft, and Death Arms. Backdraft fights the fire, Kamui Woods evacuates the civilians to a safe distance, Empty Lady stands transformed into a 67 feet 8 inches 2062 centimeters giantess and complains that she can't fit down a one-way street, and Death Arms stands by the civilians and says that their quirk is not appropriate to this situation. What a wimp! Instead of sacrificing his life to save someone else's, he stands and poses for the cameras. I also noticed that my bucking stepfather Asmite was also in the crowd, along with Izumi and her friends. As soon as I finished examining the scene, I decided to get down to work because some heroes only think about fame and money. I immediately teleported in front of the crowd of civilians where Death Arms tried to stop me. He immediately went into action. I approached the villain with the hostage and activated air manipulation and attacked him with my quirk. Air manipulation, air cannon, I said as a stream of air shot out of my hand. The villain had splattered into a dozen pieces due to my air attack. I approached the girl who was the hostage and asked if everything was fine with her, and she said yes. When I tried to leave, Kamui Woods, Empty Lady, and Death Arms stopped me. 1 SEC, you are under arrest for vigilantism and illegal use of quirk without a license. You're coming with us, buddy, Death Arms said, grabbing my arm. And you're under arrest for taking all our credit where we didn't need your help, Empty Lady said furiously. Here's my hero license, I said, reaching into my pocket and pulling out my license. Are you saying you've been a hero since you were 10? What idiots do you think we are? Now you are arrested for false documents, Death Arms said. Now this hero's license is true. I've been a hero since I was 10 years old. My hero name is Phantom. I was originally a hero from America, but I moved to Japan where I was born, I explained. Sure, Kamui Wood said sarcastically. Hey guys, Backdraft said, looking at his phone. What is it, Backdraft? Empty Lady asked. You must see this. This is an email from the president of the Hero Public Safety Commission, Backdraft said, showing phone. Dear heroes, if you encounter a man in a black cloak named Phantom, please do not attack him. 2 days ago he received his Japanese hero license, which was transferred from America. He is an official hero and intends to make his debut soon. Kamui Wood, Empty Lady, and Death Arms didn't know what to say. See, I told you so. Can I go already? I asked. Not too fast, I'm not done with you yet, brat, Empty Lady said furiously. Oh really? Because from what I saw, you were busy posing with your giant ass instead of saving people. I replied a little annoyed. Hey, my butt is normal, besides I couldn't fit through the narrow road, okay? Empty Lady said a little pissed off. She is right, Death Arms said. Oh really, Death Arms? Because from what I saw, you just stood next to the civilians and said that your quirks were not suitable for the situation and you had to wait for someone with a better quirk. And you know what, you got this person and then tried to arrest me because I took away all the glory of defeating the villain. If you had a brain, you would think and know that the only part of this villain's body that wasn't made of sludge is his eyes, which are his weak point. I explained, annoyed. It's not like you said, I just... Death Arms said, trying to come up with an excuse. What? Can't come up with anything? I asked. Death Arms said nothing but bowed his head in defeat. You an empty bore that stands here only think about fame and money. Kamui Woods, for example, took care of evacuating civilians to a safe distance, and Backdraft took care of putting out the fire so that it wouldn't spread, and the two of you just stood there and did nothing. I explained, pointing to Empty Lady who was standing next to her friends. Hey, I couldn't fit in, okay? It's not my fault. I can only change the size between 5 feet 4 inches 162 centimeters and 67 feet 8 inches 2062 centimeters. Empty Lady said. You couldn't shrink yourself and walk those 15 meters and then you'd get bigger? Instead you stood there like some spoiled bore who only thinks about her appearance in the media. I explained. Shut up, you little shit, Empty Lady said furiously. Maybe you can quit your job as a heroine and start working as a porn star. At least your mouth that you keep talking with will be of some use, I said. At this point all the adults present started laughing at Empty Lady, where I started to get ready to go. I noticed through my hood that Asmite was looking at me, but I didn't care because I knew he couldn't see my face from a distance. See ya, fake heroes, I said, jumping onto the nearest roof and disappearing on the horizon. Meanwhile, Hosa City. Noon POV. Phantom. It looks like you are a real hero, not like these false heroes who only care about fame and money. I can't wait until we meet, hero, said Hero Killer Stain, standing on the roof of one of the buildings, looking at the big screen showing a fragment of Phantom's debut. The home of the Yagi family. Tashinori POV. When we returned home from a family dinner with Izumi, Inko, Katsumi, Katsuki, Shoto and Shoka, we witnessed Sludge Villain holding a girl as a hostage while the heroes did nothing to save her. I really wanted to transform and save her when a person in a black cloak suddenly appeared and defeated the villain with one attack, saving the girl. When he wanted to leave, Death Arms and the other heroes tried to arrest him. Katsumi started talking about how he was a hero for everyone, Phantom, a hero from America who had a quirk that allowed him to copy other people's quirks. Honestly, if I hadn't chosen Izumi to be my successor, this Phantom would have been the perfect candidate. I don't know why, on the way home, this whole Phantom kept reminding me of Izuku when I was looking at his back, and all for one because of that one attack he did, but it can't be because I killed him 5 years ago. As soon as we entered the house, I immediately went to the living room and sat on the couch, trying to rest a bit after a hard day, but I kept thinking about this new hero called Phantom. From what the kids said, he has a quirk that allows him to copy other people's quirks for 24 hours, and that he was offered many times by the White House to become the number 2 hero in the US ranking, but he kept refusing. As soon as I closed my eyes, I fell asleep and dreamed about my childhood as a quirkless, where my bastard father beat me when I failed at something and how people looked at me like I was some animal. However, everything changed when I met my master Nana Shimura when she defeated 25 villains when they want to destroy the city. Then my mother died and my bastard father was arrested, leaving me completely alone. However, my new master, Nana Shimura, took me under her wing and gave me a new purpose in life. Then I met my wife Inko Midoriya and we had our children Izuku and Izumi together, but due to our fault Izuku ran away from home. I immediately opened my eyes and was covered in sweat from this nightmare. Tashinori does not know that his wife is the daughter of Nana Shimura because when he met her, she had her surname after her husband Hisashi Midoriya all for one. I'm sorry, Izuku. I am a failure of a father, I said with tears in my eyes. Japan, Underground Laboratory. Hisashi Midoriya POV. For the last few months, I had to stay in the shadows so that the heroes wouldn't suspect that I was still alive. My new student Tenko Shimura, or as he called himself Tamura Shigaraki, became interested in his plans for revenge on society. Now, however, I am sitting in my hiding place in the form of an apartment building, watching my son's debut, and Dr. Kyudaigaraki is telling me his report on the Nomu project. Doctor, how is the Nomu project going? I asked. Replace Shigaraki on the monitor with Izuku, who is in his hero's suit. The first intelligent Nomu called Kurojiri was a breakthrough for our project, my lord, the doctor explained. What about the rest? I asked. Lower tier Nomu, unfortunately, can only have a maximum of 2 quirks, but thanks to this I can create a very large number in a month. Middle tier Nomu can have a maximum of 3 quirks and is more durable than the lower tier. Upper tier Nomu are real tanks when it comes to strength and durability, but unfortunately their only drawback is that they are useless without a person giving commands. The doctor explained where the monitor changed to an image from the lab showing the tanks with the Nomus being created. What about near high-end and high-end Nomus? I asked. Over the last 5 years I have only managed to create 5 near high-end Nomu because they are complicated to create. The 5 already created have been equipped with quirks that are adapted to a specific situation. However, when it comes to high-end Nomus, unfortunately I was not able to create more of the same situation as near high-end Nomus. Fortunately, they all have intellect and are loyal to you and me, my lord. The doctor explained. What high-end Nomus have you managed to create so far from the list, doctor? I asked curiously. Not including Kurojiri, which is a successful prototype. I managed to create Hood, Woman and Robot, my lord. The doctor explained. Good. Thank you for your report, doctor. You can leave now, I said. My lord, may I speak? The doctor asked. Go ahead, I said. What are your plans for your son, my lord? The doctor asked. Honestly, nothing at the moment. I had plans for him before his quirk activated and he fled to America. Now, as my spies report, he founded a company a few years ago that is making a lot of money and he is currently living a really good life, the life he should live from start. What are the chances that he will interfere with your plans? The doctor asked. Honestly, really big, but I don't care because at least Izuku is happy right now. It would be best if we didn't get in his way and played our cards wisely. I understand, my lord, the doctor said as he left the room. We'll meet again. If time allows, we will talk in private, I said. Izuku POV. After my debut and the ridicule of Death Arms and Empty Lady on TV, I went there secretly, jumping from roof to roof across the city, stopping for attempts to grape girls in the alleys. Fire of one of the buildings that got caught in the crossfire by the attack of one of Endeavor's sidekicks, if I remember correctly her name is Burnin. 2 bank robberies, and I took a little girl's cat out of a tree. When it got dark, I decided to go home and use Gate to create a portal to the living room. My student Andrew greeted me there. Master, I am very much in awe. I just watched your debut on TV where you honestly talked about these 2 fake heroes, Andrew said as soon as he saw me. Thank you, Andrew. But I honestly said what I thought about Death Arms and Empty Lady, I said. However, are you sure we can trust the Hero Public Safety Commission? Andrew asked. No, absolutely not. Knowing them currently, the HPSC president is investigating my past using her agents, and will then gather a council where they will have 2 options. Or they will decide to find something on me to blackmail me into doing whatever they tell me to do, which is really unlikely. Or they will decide to wage a full-blown war against me just to get rid of me. Either way, I will squash them like the greedy worms they are, I explained. Sometimes I have the impression that when you do business you anticipate all possible possibilities in the future, Andrew said. Because I anticipate every possible option when it comes to the future. I have an IQ of 283, after all. Now, if you allow me, I will go to my office to make a call to one important place, I explained. Of course, master, Andrew said. After my conversation with Andrew, I went to my office and sat at my desk. I used the landline phone and dialed the number of the place I wanted to call. "Good evening. Have I reached UA?" I said into the phone. "Indeed. Principal Niza on the telephone. How can I help you?" The voice from the other side said, introducing himself as my beloved uncle the rat god Niza. "I'm calling on behalf of Shimura Industries who want to sign a contract with your school, Mr. Chimera," I said, explaining the reason for the call. "Oh, of course I would love to sign a contract with your company. As they say, you can never have enough sponsors," Uncle Rat God said. End of chapter 11. Next chapter, Business with a Chimera. After him, UA entrance exam and blonde girl. List of quirks that Izuku has. All for all allows the user to take, give, copy, evolve, combine, erase and disable quirks. All type Izuku's original quirk. Chameleon grants its user the abilities of a chameleon. The user is able to stick and climb on walls, stretch out their long tongue. The user can also camouflage their entire body, which can be used to evade opponents and conduct surprise attacks. Transformation type taken from Hiroto Akino Thug No. 1. Long arms allows the user to extend their arms. Transformation type taken from Yuta Mokichi Thug No. 2. Appearance change: the user can freely change his clothes and appearance, e.g. skin color, age, height and more, in a few seconds. Transformation type copied and evolved from Nicholas Hotto. Lawyer: the quirk allows the user to understand all types of documents, as long as they are in physical, not electronic form. Emitter type copied from bank employee Emily Parrish. Electricity manipulation allows the user to generate and control all types of electricity. Emitter type copied and evolved from the electrician who checked Izuku's house. Shadow manipulation allows the user to manipulate shadows in any way, e.g. create objects made of shadow or enter and hide in shadows. Emitter type copied and evolved from one of his employees. Forced quirk activation allows the user to forcefully activate someone's quirk against their will. Whether the target is conscious or not, the quirk will work without fail, thus giving the user a method to use their allies' quirks without having to worry about their state. They are also able to use it on themselves, even if their body is paralyzed in some way. Emitter type copied from a child who wanted to commit suicide. Universal language: this quirk allows the user to understand and speak any language. Emitter type copied from the principal when he receives proof of completion of primary school. Flight allows the user to levitate and fly at high speeds. Emitter type copied from American Hero 27 Black Flight. Regeneration: it allows the user to rapidly accelerate the body's regeneration at the same time the user sacrifices energy and becomes sleepy. Transformation type copied from American Hero 115 The High King. Hellfire Flame allows the user to generate and control flames from their body up to 2000 degrees Celsius. Emitter type Izuku copied 5 fire quirks and combined them with flame. Chains: it allows the user to create chains up to 100 meters long with their hands. Emitter type copied from American Hero 55 The Guardian. Restoration: the user can repair any non-living object by touching it. Emitter type copied from an elderly woman he saved from a fire. Barrier allows the user to create a telekinetic barrier around them, in various shapes. Emitter type copied from one of the heroes. Gills: it allows the user to create a pair of gills around their neck so they can breathe in water. Transformation type copied from a girl he saved from a villain in Dallas, Texas. Strength Enhancer X6 increases the user's strength by 5 times, e.g. if the user can lift a maximum of 50 kilograms 110.23 pounds, then after using this quirk he or she can lift a maximum of 250 kilograms 551.16 pounds. Emitter type copied from a woman in the child kidnapper's hideout and from other people. Creation of weapons: it allows you to create all types of weapons that the user wants, and also chooses the appearance. Firearms have infinite ammunition. The only problem is that the created weapon disappears as soon as the user stops touching it. Emitter type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Infertility: as the name itself says, the user becomes infertile. Mutant type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Magnetize: it allows the user to control metal objects within a range of 20 meters from the user. Emitter type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Octopus arms. It allows you to create octopus arms on the user's body and change individual body parts, e.g. fingers or the entire arm. Transformation type copied from one of the leaders in the child kidnapper's hideout. Earth King. The user can manipulate the earth in any way they want. Emitter type copied from the leader of the Force of the Unknown and from other people and combine them into one. Scanning. It allows the user to scan a person to obtain the necessary information such as age, height, quirk, and others. Emitter type copied from one of the kidnappers of the president's daughter. Pocket Dimension. It allows the user to create small portals in which they can store various items. Emitter type copied from the daughter of the President of America. Mind Control. It allows the user to take over an opponent's mind and command them in any way they want, provided that the opponent looks the user straight in the eye. The only way for an opponent to no longer be under the user's control is for the user to lose focus. Emitter type taken away from one of the kidnappers of the president's daughter. Life Detector. Life Detector allows the user to see another person's life energy in the form of a green aura. Emitter type copied from an agent from the International Commission of Heroes. Gate allows the user to create swirling portals made of dark mist through which they can travel or move others anywhere on Earth as long as the user knows the coordinates. Emitter type taken from a smuggler from Poland. Detective's Eyes. It allows the user to see different things depending on the color of the glow that the eyes have, e.g. X-ray is red, ultraviolet is blue, and others. Emitter type copied and evolved from the secretary of the senator from Poland. Sixth Sense. It allows the user to detect an impending threat in the form of a tingling sensation in the head. Emitter type copied from one of the Polish heroes. Air Manipulation. Air Manipulation grants the user the ability to control the air around them. Emitter type copied from one of the policemen in New York. Supernap. It allows the user to sleep for only 30 minutes and be as rested as if they had slept for 8 hours. Emitter type copied from one of the local librarians in Chicago. Rocket Launchers. It allows the user to fire a rocket from various parts of the body. Transformation type copied from one of the special effects guys at the movie studio. Pain Nullification. Pain Nullification makes the user unable to detect any pain, both inside and outside their body. Mutant type copied from one of the stuntmen. Technology Manipulation. It allows the user to manipulate the technology around him, such as levitating, combining, and more. The only drawback is that the longer the user uses this quirk, the more headaches they get after turning it off. Emitter type taken from a hacker who wanted to break into Shimura Industries. Frost Touch. Frost Touch gives the user the capability of manipulating and producing ice around their body. Emitter type copied from one of the heroes in USA. Multiplier. It allows the user to multiply the number of a given body part such as arms, legs, and others. The only downside is that the user can only multiply one body part at a time. Transformation type copied from one of the airport employees.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.